My parents didn't skip my graduation trip. They funded my brother's $120,000 European gap year, then handed me a Target gift card. $25. Red plastic on our kitchen counter. 7:14 a.m. graduation morning. Mom's note? For gas. Your brother needs the Europe fund. Figure it out. He got 12 countries. I got lunch money. At Princeton, I stood for scholarship recipients, without family support. The dean's voice echoed. 200 parents turned toward mine. Mom gripped her. Milan purse bought visiting my brother. Someone posted it. 890,000 views. Every relative saw who really paid. Then Dad's golf club started asking questions. The acceptance email arrived at 6:47 a.m. on a Tuesday in April. I was 17, senior year, working the opening shift at Morrison's Grocery on Maple Street, stocking shelves before school like I had every morning since sophomore year. My phone buzzed in my apron pocket while I was reorganizing the cereal aisle. Cheerios, Frosted Flakes, Lucky Charms, alphabetical order like Mr. Morrison demanded. I almost didn't check it. The subject line made my hands shake. Princeton University, Office of Admissions, your decision. I dropped a box of Raisin Bran. It exploded across the linoleum, purple everywhere, raisins scattering under the shelving units. I didn't care. I opened the email standing there in aisle 7. Fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. The store silent, except for the refrigeration units humming in the back. Dear Jasmine Rivera, congratulations. It is our great pleasure to offer you admission to Princeton University's class of... I read it 4 times before I believed it. Full ride academic scholarship, Presidential Merit Award. $64,000 per year value. 4 years fully funded tuition, housing, meal plan, books, everything. I'd done it. First person in my family to go to college. First person to even apply to an Ivy League school. My guidance counselor, Mrs. Patterson, had called me statistically improbable immigrant parents, Title I high school, working 30 hours a week while maintaining a 4 gigapascals. She'd written in my recommendation letter that I was the most determined student in 32 years of teaching. I sat down right there on the grocery store floor, surrounded by Raisin Bran, and cried. The memory that hit me first was from 8 years earlier. I was 10 years old, sitting at our kitchen table doing 4th grade homework. Dad had just gotten his promotion at the engineering firm associate to senior engineer, the biggest jump of his career. Mom had made his favorite dinner, arroz con pollo, and we'd celebrated with store-brand ice cream afterward. Devin was 12 then, already showing signs of the entitlement that would define him, but back then it seemed like normal older brother confidence. He'd announced at dinner that he wanted to go to college, somewhere fancy, like Harvard or Yale. Mom had beamed at him. Mijo, you can do anything you set your mind to. I'd asked, quieter. What about me? Dad had reached over and squeezed my hand. I still remember the warmth of his palm, the calluses from years of drafting work before everything went digital. Jasmine, mi amor, you work harder than anyone I know. When you succeed, and you will, we'll be there. Front row, every time. Every time, Mom had echoed, smiling at me over the kitchen table. Candlelight from Devin's promotion celebration candles, making her face look soft and safe. I'd believed them. Sitting on that grocery store floor 9 years later, Raisin Bran dust on my uniform pants, I pulled up my parents' contact and called. Mom answered on the 4th ring. Jasmine? It's not even 7. Is everything okay? I got in. My voice cracked. Princeton. Full scholarship. Silence. Not the good kind. Not the, oh my God, I'm speechless kind. The empty kind. The pause that means someone's deciding what performance to give. Oh, Mom said finally. That's good. Not congratulations. Not, we're so proud. Not, I can't believe it. Just, that's good. Like I'd told her I'd gotten a B+ on a quiz or remembered to take out the trash. Mom? My throat tightened. It's Princeton. It's a full ride. That's wonderful, Jasmine. Really. But I'm actually just walking into an appointment. Can we talk about this later? An appointment. At 6:50 a.m. Sure, I whispered. Later. She hung up before I could say anything else. I sat there for another 10 minutes, phone in my lap, before Mr. Morrison found me and asked if I was okay. I lied and said yes. Cleaned up the Raisin Bran, finished my shift, went to school. Smiled when Mrs. Patterson called me into her office because the admissions office had already notified her, and she hugged me and cried happy tears I couldn't quite manage to mirror. That night at dinner, I tried again. So I wanted to talk about Princeton. Actually, Dad interrupted, setting down his fork with a sharp clink. We have some exciting news too. Devin grinned. He was 21 then, halfway through what should have been his junior year at State University before he dropped out. Again. Second time. He'd quit the first time after freshman year because the classes were too boring. Came back a year later, lasted 3 semesters, then quit again because he needed to find himself. I'm taking a gap year, Devin announced. Well, technically a gap year and a half, since I'm not in school anyway, but Mom and Dad are helping me fund it. Fund it. I looked at my parents. Mom was smiling, actual pride lighting up her face in a way I hadn't seen in years. Dad nodded approvingly, like Devin had just announced he'd cured cancer instead of dropping out of college twice. We think it's important for Devin to have life experiences, Mom explained, her voice gentle like she was talking to a small child. Travel. Culture. Broadening horizons. Where? I asked carefully. Europe. Devin's eyes lit up. 12 countries. France, Italy, Greece, Spain, Germany, Switzerland, Austria, Netherlands, Belgium, Czech Republic, Poland, Croatia, 3 months, maybe 4 if I can stretch it. My brain did the math automatically. Flights, hotels, food, tours, even bare-bones backpacking would cost $20,000. Devin didn't do bare-bones anything. I searched for words. It's an investment, Dad said firmly, in Devin's personal development. Personal development. Devin, who'd quit 2 jobs in the past year because they didn't align with his values. Devin, who'd spent the last 8 months sleeping until noon and playing video games in our parents' basement. I thought about my Princeton email, the scholarship I'd earned by working 30-hour weeks since I was 15, the 4 gigapascals I'd maintained while Devin partied through freshman year before dropping out. The 3 jobs I'd worked simultaneously, junior year grocery store mornings, tutoring after school, restaurant on weekends so I could save money for application fees, and ACT prep books. What about Princeton? I heard myself ask. I mean, I got a full scholarship, but I'll still need money for textbooks, supplies, a laptop. You got a full ride, didn't you? Mom's tone shifted slightly. Cooler. That covers everything important. It covers tuition and housing, but, Jasmine, Dad's voice had an edge now. You've always been resourceful. You'll figure it out. You always do. You'll figure it out. Devin got a European vacation. You'll figure it out. We're really proud of you, honey, Mom added, but she was already looking back at Devin, at the laptop open in front of him displaying Pinterest boards full of Eiffel Tower photos and Santorini sunsets. Princeton is a wonderful achievement, but Devin's opportunity is time-sensitive. He needs this experience now, while he's young and unattached. I was 17. Right, I said quietly. Of course. Nobody heard me. Devin was already talking about hostels in Amsterdam and wine tours in Tuscany, and my parents were nodding along like he was describing a doctoral dissertation instead of an extended vacation funded by them while I worked 3 jobs. I excused myself from dinner early, went to my room, opened my email and stared at the Princeton acceptance letter until the words blurred. Congratulations. Great pleasure. Distinguished scholars. The next morning, I overheard Mom on the phone in the kitchen. I was getting ready for my grocery store shift, moving quietly so I could leave without conversation. Her voice drifted up the stairs. Yes, Tuesday at 10 works perfectly. We need to finalize the itinerary. Mm-hmm. The travel insurance, too. No, the premium package, definitely. Whatever he needs. A pause. Our daughter? Oh, she got into Princeton. Full scholarship. Very impressive. No, we're not helping financially. She's got it covered. Very independent girl. Always has been. Always has been. Like independence was a personality trait. Not a survival skill I'd developed because I'd had to. I stood on the staircase, frozen, grocery store polo shirt half-buttoned, and felt something crack open in my chest. Not heartbreak. Not yet. Something colder. The first hairline fracture in the foundation of belief I'd built my entire childhood on. When you succeed, we'll be there. Front row. Every time. I finished buttoning my shirt, grabbed my keys, went to work. The Princeton acceptance letter stayed pinned to my bulletin board above my desk, next to my work schedule and my college loan information printouts. I looked at it every night before bed, orange and black logo, congratulatory language, scholarship details. I told myself it was enough, that their approval didn't matter, that I'd done this for myself, not for them. I told myself a lot of things that spring. Most of them were lies. The pattern didn't start with Princeton. I just didn't have language for it until then. Didn't have the distance or clarity to see what had always been right in front of me, stitched into the fabric of our family like a design you don't notice until someone points it out. Devin was the sun. I was the earth. You know, necessary for life, mostly ignored, expected to keep spinning without acknowledgement. Let me give you the greatest hits. Age 10. My birthday fell on a Thursday. School night. Mom made a boxed cake mix, vanilla, no frosting, candles stuck directly into the spongy surface. We sang for 30 seconds. I blew out the candles. Devin asked if he could have the rest of my cake because he had friends coming over on Saturday. Age 10, 3 months later, Devin's birthday, Saturday. Mom special ordered a 3-tier chocolate cake from Buttercream Bakery downtown, the fancy place with the gold leaf decorations and fondant sculptures. Custom design. Soccer ball on top because Devin played rec league. $180. I learned later, when I saw the receipt on the kitchen counter. I remember staring at that receipt. The numbers didn't make sense in my 10-year-old brain. My cake. $4.79 for the box mix. Devin's cake. $180. When I asked Mom about it, she'd smiled and ruffled my hair. Devin's friends are coming, sweetie. It needs to be special. You understand. I didn't. But I said I did. Age 14. I needed a dress for 8th grade graduation dance. Mom handed me $40 and told me to find something nice at Target. I took the bus to the shopping center, walked through the juniors section for an hour, settled on a navy blue dress that was $35. Saved the $5 for the bus ride home because I wasn't sure if she'd want the change back. Age 14, 6 months earlier. Devin needed clothes for high school. Mom took him to the mall, spent 6 hours shopping, came back with 7 bags from Nordstrom and J. Crew. New wardrobe. Fall semester, fresh start after middle school. I saw the credit card statement later when I was doing homework at the kitchen table, and Mom left it out $847. I wore my Target dress to the dance. It was fine. Nobody noticed. That was kind of the theme of my adolescence. Fine, nobody noticed. I understood. Age 16. I wanted to take the SAT prep course that Mrs. Patterson recommended. Cost $450 for 8 weeks. Professional instructors, proven score improvements, college counseling included. I showed Mom the brochure. She barely looked at it. Jasmine, that's expensive. Can't you just study from a book? I bought a used prep book at the thrift store for $3. Studied in the grocery store break room during my shifts. Took the SAT cold. Scored 1,490. Pretty good. Not perfect, but good enough for Princeton. Age 16. Same year. Devin decided he wanted to do a summer program at State University. Pre-college enrichment experience. Leadership development and career exploration. Cost $2,800 for 4 weeks. Dad wrote the check the same day Devin mentioned it. Investment in his future, he'd said. Devin lasted 2 weeks before coming home early. It wasn't what I expected, he'd explained. And my parents had nodded sympathetically and never mentioned the $2,800 again. I started noticing all the ways I'd learned to make myself smaller. I didn't ask for things. I waited until holidays or birthdays, and even then I kept my requests practical. Socks, notebooks, a scientific calculator for physics class. Things I needed, not things I wanted. Devin asked for things constantly. New gaming console, expensive headphones, shoes that cost more than my monthly grocery store paycheck. He got most of them. When he didn't, my parents explained why timing, budget, let's wait until Christmas, and it always sounded reasonable, like a negotiation between equals. When I asked for things, the answer was different. Not, let's wait, but, you don't really need that, do you? Not, maybe for your birthday, but, can't you make do with what you have? I learned to stop asking. By the time I got to high school, I had 3 jobs. Morrison's grocery store. Opening shifts, Monday through Friday, 5:30 a.m. to 7:45 a.m. Stocking shelves, inventory management, occasional register coverage. $9.50 an hour. Mr. Morrison was gruff but fair, and he let me keep irregular hours during finals week. Tutoring. After school, Tuesday and Thursday, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., math and English for middle schoolers, $15 an hour cash, coordinated through Mrs. Patterson's informal network of students who needed help and families who could pay. I was good at it. Patient. I understood what it felt like to have to work twice as hard for half the recognition. Rosa's restaurant, Friday and Saturday nights, 5 p.m. to close, usually 11:30 p.m., sometimes later. Hostess position, occasionally server when they were short-staffed. $8.75 an hour, plus a cut of tips when I served. Rosa herself, 67, immigrant from El Salvador. Arms like steel from 40 years of restaurant work took a liking to me. "You work like you're running from something," she'd said once. "But mija, you should be running towards something instead." I didn't know how to explain that I was doing both. Junior year, I worked 32 hours a week on top of full-time school and advanced placement courses. My GPA never dropped below 4. I made National Honor Society, academic decathlon team, Merit Scholar semifinalist. My college applications were immaculate. Mrs. Patterson called them some of the strongest packages I've seen in 3 decades. Devin worked 0 hours that year. He dropped out of State University the previous spring, moved back home, spent most days sleeping until 1 p.m., and most nights playing video games in the basement. My parents called it finding himself. When I came home at midnight from restaurant shifts, exhausted and smelling like fryer grease, Devin was usually still awake, PlayStation controller in hand, energy drinks scattered across the coffee table. He never asked where I'd been, never seemed to notice I was working myself into the ground while he leveled up in some fantasy RPG. My parents noticed, but not in the way you'd hope. "You're always so busy," Mom would say, a slight edge of accusation in her voice, like my absence was a personal slight. "We never see you anymore." "I'm working," I'd reply, too tired for elaboration. "Well, maybe you don't need 3 jobs. Devin's taking some time to figure things out, and we're managing fine." Managing fine, because I paid for my own everything clothes, school supplies, gas money, college application fees, ACT, SAT registration, AP exam costs. I'd stopped asking them for money the same year I started at Morrison's. It was easier to work than to hear, "We can't afford that right now," while Devin got a $400 gaming headset for his birthday. By senior year, I had $4,300 saved. Every paycheck, I put 40% into my college fund. The account I'd opened at 17, the one my parents didn't have access to, the one that represented every early morning and late night and missed school event because I'd been working. $4,300. It felt like a fortune. It felt like freedom. It would cover my textbooks for maybe 3 semesters at Princeton, if I was careful. I was always careful. The acceptance letter arrived in April. The European trip announcement came 3 days later, and something I'd been carefully not noticing for 17 years suddenly became impossible to ignore. I didn't matter as much. Not in the big ways they fed me, housed me, signed school forms, but in the small ways, the ways that add up to a childhood. I'd been running a deficit since birth. Every birthday cake, every shopping trip, every college prep course, every moment of pride or attention or financial investment, it was allocated differently. The math was clear. Devin got $180 cakes and $2,800 summer programs and European vacations. I got $25 Target gift cards and figure it out. The night after the Europe announcement, I lay in bed doing calculations in my head. Flights to Europe, average cost for summer travel, $1,200 per person. Devin would need at least $2,400 for round trip. Hotels, conservative estimate at $80 per night, 90 days, $7,200. Food, tours, transportation, incidentals, at least $30 per day, probably more. That's another $2,700 minimum. Baseline, bare minimum estimate, $12,300. But Devin didn't do bare minimum. Devin did 4-star hotels and guided tours and restaurants with Michelin stars. Devin did first class when he could convince them, business class when he couldn't. I revised my estimate, $40,000, maybe $50,000, for 3 months of finding himself. Meanwhile, I'd asked them to co-sign a $4,500 student loan for me that winter, just for textbooks and a laptop, because my current computer was 6 years old and dying, held together with duct tape and prayers, and I needed something reliable for college. Dad had frowned at the paperwork. "This is a lot of debt, Jasmine." "It's for 4 years of textbooks," I'd said, "and a computer for classes. Can't you get used textbooks? And the library has computers." "I need my own for assignments, especially late-night work." He'd set down the papers. "I don't feel comfortable signing for this. You're taking on too much debt. Maybe look into more scholarships?" I had 17 scholarships. I'd applied to 103 different programs. I had spent 8 months of my senior year writing essays and gathering recommendations and filling out financial aid forms. "Okay," I'd said quietly. "I'll figure it out." 3 months later, they figured out $50,000 for Devin's vacation. The math was clear. I was the daughter you didn't invest in, the one who'd survive regardless, the one who'd always been resourceful, independent, self-sufficient, not because I'd chosen those traits, but because I'd never been given an alternative. Devin was the son you believed in, the one with potential, the one worth 6 figures of life experience funding because surely, eventually, he'd find himself and do something remarkable. I was already doing something remarkable. Nobody was watching. 8 weeks before graduation, I sent out the invitations. Cream-colored cardstock. Printed at FedEx with money from my tutoring fund. Jasmine Rivera requests the honor of your presence at her graduation from Riverside High School and celebration of her acceptance to Princeton University. I hand-delivered my parents' invitation. Set it on the kitchen table in front of them during dinner. Mom glanced at it. "June 3rd? Graduation's at 2 p.m., I said. Ceremonies at the Civic Center. I included a map. "We'll try to make it," Dad said, not looking up from his phone. Try. Not we'll be there. Not we wouldn't miss it. Try. Devin's send-off party is that weekend, Mom added. Saturday, I think? We have a lot to coordinate. Send-off party. For a 21-year-old dropout going on vacation. My graduation is Friday, I said carefully. The party's Saturday? We'll figure it out, Mom said, the same way she'd said everything that year. We'll figure it out. You'll figure it out. Everyone's figuring it out. Nobody was figuring anything out. I looked at the invitation on the table, my name in elegant script, Princeton's logo in the corner. The achievement I'd worked 6 years of early mornings and late nights to earn, and watched my mother slide it under a stack of mail without another word. Front row every time, Dad had promised when I was 10. I was 17 now, old enough to know that some promises have expiration dates you never see coming. Old enough to know I'd been invisible for a long time. Not old enough yet to know what I was going to do about it. That reckoning was still 8 weeks away. Graduation morning arrived on a Friday in June that felt like every other working Friday I'd had for 3 years. My alarm went off at 5:15 a.m. I'd worked the closing shift at Rosa's the night before Friday rush. Understaffed, didn't leave until 12:30 a.m. 4.5 hours of sleep. My body moved on autopilot, shower, grocery store uniform, out the door by 5:40 for the opening shift at Morrison's. Graduation was at 2 p.m. I'd asked for the day off 3 months ago. Mr. Morrison had squinted at the calendar, shaken his head. Friday's our busiest delivery day. I need you for the morning shift at minimum. You can leave at noon. So that was the plan. Work 5:30 to noon. Rush home, shower again, put on the white dress I'd bought with my own money from Macy's clearance rack. $47. Simple, appropriate. Drive to the Civic Center. Graduate. Walk across the stage. Prove that 6 years of 30-hour work weeks and 4 GPAs meant something. I'd imagined that day 1,000 times since the Princeton acceptance letter, the walk across the stage. My name over the loudspeaker, Jasmine Rivera, graduating with honors, presidential scholar, attending Princeton University. The moment I'd turn to the audience and see them, Mom, Dad, finally looking proud. Front row, every time. When I came downstairs at 5:35 a.m., the kitchen light was on. Mom was already awake, dressed for the day, coffee in hand. She looked up when I entered. "Morning," she said. Neutral, like it was any Friday. "Morning," I echoed. There was something on the kitchen counter. Red plastic rectangle. Target logo visible even from across the room. Gift card. I walked closer. There was a note underneath. Mom's handwriting on a torn piece of scratch paper. "Jasmine. For gas money to the ceremony. Your brother needs the Europe fund. You're resourceful. Figure it out. Proud of you. Mom." I picked up the card. $25. The number was printed right there on the front, between the Target bullseye and the barcode. $25. I stood there holding it, reading the note 3 times, trying to make the words mean something different than what they obviously meant. Your brother needs the Europe fund. Devin was leaving for Europe in 9 days. I'd heard them talking about it every night for weeks, flight confirmations, hotel bookings, travel insurance, itinerary adjustments. Last night at dinner, Dad had mentioned the final payment to the travel agency. Just under $8,000, but it covers everything for the first month. Just under $8,000. For 1 month of Devin's vacation. I was holding $25 for my college graduation. "I have to run to an appointment," Mom said from behind me. I hadn't heard her move closer. "But I wanted to leave that for you. Gas is expensive, and I know you're working this morning. Didn't want you to worry about filling up the tank." I turned to look at her. She was smiling. Small, pleasant, like she'd done something thoughtful, like this was a kindness. "You're not coming to graduation?" I heard myself ask. "Of course we are, honey. We'll be there. I just have this appointment first. Devin's travel agency, finalizing a few details. We have to leave by 9, but the ceremony's not until 2, so we'll have plenty of time." We, Mom and Dad, going to Devin's travel agency appointment. On my graduation morning. What if it runs late? My voice sounded distant, like it was coming from someone else. "It won't." Mom kissed my cheek quick, distracted. "Congratulations, sweetie. Princeton is such an accomplishment. We're very proud." She grabbed her purse from the counter. Designer bag. The one she'd bought last month when she'd flown out to visit Devon during his spring break trip to Los Angeles. I'd seen the receipt, $680, bought at a boutique in Beverly Hills. The door closed behind her. I stood in the kitchen holding a $25 Target gift card, reading the note again. "You're resourceful. Figure it out." The same thing Dad had said 3 months ago when I'd asked about the textbook loan. The same thing they'd been saying my entire life, in 1,000 different ways. "Figure it out, Jasmine. You always do. You're so independent. You don't need our help. You're different from Devon. You're self-sufficient." I looked at the gift card. Devon was getting 12 countries, first-class flights, 4-star hotels, 3 months of life experience. Total cost, over $100,000. I'd heard Dad on the phone with his brother 2 weeks ago. Defensive. "It's an investment in his future, Mark. He needs this opportunity." I was getting $25 for gas to drive myself to my own Ivy League graduation. I left for work at 5:43 a.m. The Target card stayed on the counter. I didn't take it. The morning shift passed in a blur of automatic movements. Stocking, inventory, rotating expired products. Mr. Morrison asked me twice if I was okay. I said yes both times. Lied both times. At 11:47 a.m., I clocked out. Mr. Morrison handed me an envelope. "Graduation gift," he said gruffly. "Don't open it here." I opened it in my car. $200 in cash and a note. "For textbooks. You earned this. Proud of you. Morrison." My boss gave me $200. My parents gave me $25. The math was so clear it felt like violence. I drove home. Showered in 12 minutes. Put on the white dress, the one I'd saved for. The one that was supposed to make me feel accomplished and adult and ready for Princeton. It just felt like cloth. 1:15 p.m. I needed to leave by 1:30 to get to the Civic Center on time. Find parking. Check in with the graduation coordinator. My phone buzzed. Dad, running a bit behind. "Travel agency appointment going longer than expected. We'll get there as soon as we can. Save us seats. Save us seats." They were supposed to be there early. They were supposed to help me celebrate. They were supposed to be the ones saving seats front row, every time, like they'd promised. I typed back. "Okay." What else was there to say? I left at 1:30. Drove to Riverside Civic Center, the massive convention hall downtown that the school rented every year for graduation. Parked in the auxiliary lot because the main lot was already full. Walked across the sun-baked asphalt in heels I'd practiced walking in for a week. Inside, chaos. 312 graduates. Families everywhere. The sound of 2,000 people compressed into one space. Crying. Laughing. Taking photos. Adjusting caps and gowns. I checked in at the graduate table. Got my honor cords gold for academic achievement, silver for national merit, orange for Princeton early decision. The coordinator, Miss Chen, smiled at me. "Jasmine! Congratulations. Your family here yet?" "Coming soon," I said. She nodded, already looking past me to the next graduate in line. I found my seat in the graduate section, alphabetical order, so I was in the R row, middle section. From there, I could see the family seating area. Row after row of folding chairs, filling up fast. I'd asked my parents 3 weeks ago where they wanted to sit. "Front section, middle," Mom had said. "We want a good view." I scanned the front section now. Families everywhere. Mothers adjusting their sons' caps. Fathers taking photos. Grandparents beaming. Siblings, younger ones squirming. Older ones looking proud. No Mom, no Dad. 1:50 p.m. 10 minutes to ceremony start. I checked my phone. No messages. The Civic Center lights dimmed. The principal's voice boomed over the sound system. "Welcome everyone to Riverside High School's graduation ceremony." I looked at the front section again. Still no Mom, still no Dad. The graduates started filing in. Pomp and Circumstance played over the speakers, the traditional march, the song I'd heard at every graduation I'd ever attended. We walked in rows, slow and ceremonial, while families clapped and cheered. I walked past the family section. Saw the Johnsons there for Marcus, my grocery store coworker. Saw the Patels there for Priya, academic decathlon teammate. Saw the Chens, the Nguyen's, the Martinez's, the Robinsons. No, Riveras. We took our seats. The principal gave his speech. I didn't hear a word of it. 2:17 p.m. My phone was in my small purse, tucked under my chair. I couldn't check it without being obvious. But I kept glancing at the family section, hoping to see them rushing in late, apologetic, taking whatever seats they could find in the back. Nothing. The speeches continued. Valedictorian, salutatorian, student body president, each one talking about achievement and family and support and gratitude. I thought about the Target gift card still sitting on the kitchen counter. Figure it out. At 2:45 p.m., they started calling names. Alphabetical order, A through Z. The R's wouldn't be called for another 40 minutes at least. I watched graduate after graduate walk across the stage, watched their families stand, cheer, take photos, watched mothers cry and fathers clap and siblings whistle. Still no Riveras. 3:20 p.m. Jasmine Maria Rivera. My name echoed through the Civic Center's sound system. I stood, walked to the stage stairs, climbed carefully in heels. I'd practiced walking in. Crossed the stage toward Principal Morrison. No relation to my boss, just coincidence. He shook my hand, handed me my diploma cover. The real diploma would come in the mail, smiled. Graduating with honors, the announcer's voice continued. Presidential scholar, national merit finalist, attending Princeton University on full academic scholarship. Applause from the audience. The general, polite applause everyone got. I turned to look at the family section before walking off stage. It's what you're supposed to do. The moment. Turn, smile. Find your family in the crowd. Let them take the photo that'll go on the wall for decades. I looked at the front section first, then the middle section, then the back. 247 families. Not one of them was mine. I walked off the stage, took my seat, stared at my hands, gripping the empty diploma cover. The ceremony ended at 3:55 p.m. Families rushed the graduate section immediately. Hugs, photos, flowers, balloons. The Civic Center filled with the sound of celebration. I stood there in the crush of people, looking for them. They'd come late, I told myself. They'd missed the ceremony, but they were here now, pushing through the crowd, apologetic, ready to celebrate. Marcus found me first. Jasmine, congrats. Have you seen your family? My parents wanted to get a photo with all of us. They're not here, I heard myself say. His face fell. What? They didn't come. Are you sure? Maybe they're just. They didn't come, Marcus. He hugged me. I didn't cry. Couldn't cry. The tears were somewhere behind a wall I didn't know how to break through yet. Mrs. Patterson found me next, pushing through the crowd, diploma-clutching graduates everywhere. Jasmine, I've been looking for you. Where are your parents? I wanted to. She stopped, looked at my face. Understood. Oh, honey, she breathed. It's fine, I said. Automatic. They had an appointment. On your graduation day? I didn't answer. She hugged me too. Longer than Marcus. When she pulled back, there were tears in her eyes, even though there were none in mine yet. You, she said fiercely, are the most accomplished student I have taught in 32 years. Do you hear me? Princeton is lucky to have you. I nodded, couldn't speak. My phone buzzed in my purse. I pulled it out. Mom. So sorry, honey. Travel agency appointment ran so late. We're just leaving now. Traffic is terrible. Devon's flight is next week, and there were so many details. How was the ceremony? Did you get good photos? We'll celebrate this weekend. This weekend? Devon's send-off party was this weekend. They'd missed my graduation for Devin's travel planning appointment, and the celebration they were offering was at his party. I stood there in the Civic Center, surrounded by 311 other graduates and their families, holding my phone, reading the message again. Something inside me didn't just crack. It shattered. But I still wasn't crying. I walked through the crowd toward the exit. Past families taking photos. Past Marcus with his parents. Past Priya with her grandparents. Past the Johnsons and the Patels and the Chens and everyone else whose families had shown up. The parking lot was sun-baked and bright. 4:20 p.m. June, heat rising off the asphalt in waves. I got to my car, sat in the driver's seat, closed the door. That's when I saw it. On my windshield. Under the wiper blade. Receipt. It must have fallen out of Mom's purse this morning when she'd kissed my cheek, and the wind had blown it onto my windshield, and it had stayed there all day. I got out. Pulled it from under the wiper. Lufthansa Airlines. Ticket receipt. 2 passengers. Robert Rivera, Maria Rivera. Destination: Frankfurt, Germany, connecting to Paris. Flight date: June 12th, 9 days from now. First class. Cost per ticket: $14,200. Total: $28,400. For them to accompany Devin to Europe for the first 2 weeks to help him get settled. I got back in my car. Sat there, holding a $28,400 receipt for first-class tickets to Europe. Thought about the $25 Target gift card on the kitchen counter. Thought about, figure it out. Thought about, we're very proud. Thought about front row. Every time. Thought about 6 years of 30-hour work weeks and 4 GPAs and 3 jobs and used textbooks and thrift store prom dresses and every single moment I'd been told I was independent, resourceful, self-sufficient, not as compliments, but as excuses for why I didn't need what Devin got without asking. I took a photo of the receipt. Then I started my car and drove home. I still wasn't crying. I was done crying. Something else was happening now. Something colder. Something that felt like arithmetic instead of heartbreak. They'd made a choice. A $127,425 choice. If you added up everything I'd later discover in that Europe spreadsheet. They'd chosen Devin. They'd chosen his gap year vacation over my Ivy League graduation. They'd chosen first-class tickets to Paris over front-row seats at my ceremony. The math was clear. And I was about to make them show their work to everyone who'd ever told me I was lucky to have such supportive parents. But first, I needed to find that spreadsheet. Because if there was one thing 6 years of working 30-hour weeks had taught me, it was this. Always document everything. I didn't go inside the house right away. Sat in my car in the driveway for 23 minutes. Still wearing my white graduation dress, still holding the Lufthansa receipt, still not crying. The photo was already saved on my phone. Receipt front and back. Clear images, date, cost, passenger names, everything. Evidence. The word appeared in my head fully formed, like it had been waiting there all along. Not receipt, evidence. I opened my Photos app. Created a new album. Titled it Documentation. Professional. Clinical. The kind of word that creates distance between feeling and fact. The receipt photo went into the album. First entry. Then I sat there staring at my phone, at that single image in its new digital folder. And something clicked into place that I'd been deliberately not seeing for months. The travel agency appointment this morning? 9 a.m. Just finalizing details, Mom had said. But Devin's trip was planned. I'd heard them talking about it for weeks. What details needed finalizing the morning of my graduation? I scrolled back through my messages, found the family group chat me, Mom, Dad, Devin. I'd muted it weeks ago because the Europe planning spam was constant, 57 unread messages. I started reading. Most were boring logistics, flight times, packing lists, Devin asking questions that Google could have answered. But then, 3 days ago, Devin. Mom, when are you wiring the last payment? Agency needs it by Friday. Mom. Doing it Friday morning. $8,200. Final payment covers the first month's accommodations and the premium travel insurance. Dad. We should do it Thursday. Don't want any last-minute issues. Mom. Can't Thursday. Have that thing with Linda. Friday morning appointment at 9. Wire transfer processes by noon. Friday morning. Today? Graduation day. They'd scheduled the final $8,200 payment for the exact morning of my graduation. Not Thursday. Not next week. Friday at 9 a.m. When my ceremony was at 2 p.m., and any reasonable parent would have cleared their entire day. I read the exchange 3 times. They'd known. For at least 3 days, they'd known they had a financial appointment on graduation morning, and neither of them had said, "Wait, that's Jasmine's graduation day, let's reschedule." It hadn't even occurred to them. My hands were shaking now, not from sadness, from something sharper. I screenshotted the group chat conversation, added it to the documentation album. 2 pieces of evidence. I got out of the car. The June heat hit me immediately, 4:47 p.m., sun still high, that specific kind of oppressive warmth that makes your clothes stick to your skin. My white dress was already wrinkled from sitting. Inside, the house was empty, cool, air conditioning running because Dad insisted on keeping it at 68 degrees, even though Mom complained about the electricity bill. One of those small hypocrisies I'd stopped noticing years ago. The Target gift card was still on the counter where I'd left it this morning. $25. I picked it up, added it to my purse. Not because I wanted it, because it was evidence too. Then I saw Mom's laptop. She'd left it on the kitchen table, plugged in, screen dark but power light glowing. Mom's work laptop, she used it for everything. Personal email, banking, online shopping, the family's shared cloud storage account. I stood there looking at it. Here's the thing about being the invisible daughter. You learn where all the passwords are kept, not because anyone tells you. Because you're the one they ask to fix the computer, or find that email, or print out those documents. You're the one who's resourceful, who figures it out. The family cloud storage password hadn't changed in 4 years. I knew because I'd set up Mom's account when she couldn't figure out how to sync her photos. The password was Devon's birthday plus their anniversary year. Obvious. Predictable. I sat down at the table. Opened the laptop. The screen flickered to life password prompt. I hesitated. This was different from overhearing conversations or seeing receipts left on counters. This was deliberate, intentional searching. This was crossing a line. I thought about the empty seats at graduation. I thought about $25 for gas versus $28,000 for first-class tickets. I thought about figure it out, and we're very proud, and front row, every time. I typed in the password. The laptop unlocked. I opened the cloud storage, went straight to the family shared folder, the one where Mom kept everything she wanted backed up. Photos, documents, spreadsheets, tax returns. There were 1,847 files. I sorted by date modified. Most recent first. Top of the list. Devon Grand Tour Final. XLSX. Modified. This morning, 8:42 a.m. While I'd been at Morrison's stocking shelves before my graduation, Mom had been updating Devon's Europe spreadsheet. I clicked it. The file opened, and my entire world tilted sideways. The spreadsheet had 18 tabs. 18 separate worksheets, color-coded, meticulously organized. Each tab labeled with a different aspect of Devon's trip. Flights, accommodations, daily expenses, tours and activities, transportation, food budget, shopping allowance, emergency fund, travel insurance, photography package, wardrobe, technology, entertainment, miscellaneous. The summary tab was open first. Devon Grand Tour. Total budget. Total cost, $127,450. I stared at the number. Read it again. $127,450. $127,450. For 3 months. For Devon to find himself in Europe. My stomach lurched. I tasted bile. Swallowed it back. Clicked the Flights tab. Passenger 1 Devon Rivera. $3,200. Round trip business class. Los Angeles to Frankfurt, return from Rome. Passenger 2 Robert Rivera. $14,200. Round trip first class, accompanying for first 2 weeks. Passenger 3 Maria Rivera. $14,200. Round trip first class, accompanying for first 2 weeks. Internal European flights, 6 segments, $2,800. Subtotal, $34,400. $34,000. Just for flights. They were spending more on plane tickets than I'd earned in 3 years of working. I clicked the Accommodations tab. Hotel listings. Dozens of them. Each one with nightly rate, number of nights, total cost. Paris. Ritz Paris. $1,240. Divided by night times 6 nights. Equals $7,440. Rome. Hotel Hassler. $890 divided by night times 5 nights equals $4,450. Santorini. Kadakis Hotel. $1,100 divided by night times 4 nights equals $4,400. Barcelona. Mandarin Oriental. $725 divided by night times 5 nights equals $3,625. On and on. 12 countries. 87 nights. 5-star hotels. 4-star hotels. Boutique luxury accommodations. Accommodations subtotal. $41,200. I couldn't breathe properly. $41,000. For hotels. While I'd been sleeping in a dorm room I'd paid for with scholarship money and working 3 jobs to afford groceries. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely control the trackpad. I clicked the next tab. Daily expenses. Daily spending money. $200 divided by day times 90 days equals $18,000. Additional funds for spontaneous experiences. $8,000. Credit card. Emergency use. $5,000 limit. Subtotal. $31,000. $31,000 in spending money. Devon was getting more than 4 times my entire 3-year savings just for spontaneous experiences. I clicked through the remaining tabs in a daze. Tours and activities. $12,900. Cooking classes in Tuscany. Guided tours of the Louvre. Private yacht rental in Greece. Wardrobe. $8,950. Appropriate attire for upscale venues. Suits, shoes, accessories from Nordstrom. Photography package. $5,000 professional photographer for 2 days to document the journey. Technology. $3,400. New laptop, camera equipment, international phone plan. Travel insurance. Premium. $4,200. Comprehensive coverage, including medical evacuation. The numbers blurred together. $127,450. I sat back in the chair. Felt something dark and cold spreading through my chest like ice water. 3 months ago, I'd asked them to co-sign a $4,500 student loan for textbooks and a laptop, necessities for Princeton, things I actually needed for my education. Dad had looked at me like I'd asked him to co-sign a mortgage. "This is a lot of debt, Jasmine. You're taking on too much. Can't you get used textbooks?" $4,500 was too much. $127,450 was an investment in Devon's future. The math was so obscene it felt like satire. I opened my photos, started taking screenshots. Every tab, every line item. every absurd luxury expense. Screenshot, save, screenshot, save. My phone storage filled up. I had to delete old photos to make room pictures from high school, random selfies, stuff I'd never look at again anyway. Deleted 50 photos, kept screenshotting. The wardrobe tab made me physically nauseous. Tom Ford suit, $2,400. Italian leather shoes, 3 pairs, $1,100. Designer sunglasses, $450. Casual wear from Nordstrom, $2,800. Accessories, belts, ties, watches, $2,200. Devin was getting a $2,400 suit for Instagram photos. I'd bought my graduation dress for $47 on clearance. I screenshot that tab 3 times. Different angles. Made sure the numbers were crystal clear. Then I saw the notes column. Small comments Mom had added to certain line items. Next to the Ritz Paris booking. Devin's always wanted to see Paris properly. This is his chance. Next to the $8,000 Spontaneous Experiences Fund. He needs freedom to explore without money stress. Next to the photography package. These memories should be documented professionally. Once in a lifetime. Once in a lifetime. My Princeton acceptance was once in a lifetime. My graduation was once in a lifetime. They'd missed it for a travel agency appointment. I kept scrolling. Found another tab I'd missed initially. Payment timeline. A schedule of when they'd made deposits into Devin's trip fund. The dates went back 11 months. 11 months. I scrolled to the top. July 18. Initial deposit. $5,000 travel agency retainer. August 3. Second deposit. $10,000 flight reservations. August 29. Third deposit. $7,500 hotel deposits. August 29th. That was 3 days after I'd started my junior year at State, before transferring. The week I'd asked them to help me afford the $450 SAT prep course. That's too expensive, Jasmine. Can't you just study from a book? 3 days later, they deposited $7,500 into Devin's vacation fund. I kept reading down the payment timeline. September 15, fourth deposit, $8,000. October 7, fifth deposit, $12,000. November 12, sixth deposit, $9,200. November 12th. That was the week I'd asked about the student loan. The $4,500 loan for textbooks and a laptop. I don't feel comfortable signing for this. You're taking on too much debt. 19 days earlier, they'd deposited $12,000 into Devin's fund. The timeline kept going. Monthly deposits. Sometimes twice a month. Large amounts, $8,000, $11,000, $7,500. For 11 months, while I'd been working 30-hour weeks and applying to scholarships and eating ramen and asking for help with $4,500, they'd been systematically funneling over $127,000 into Devin's European vacation. I took screenshots of the entire payment timeline. Made sure every date was visible. Every amount. My phone buzzed. Text from Mom. Hi, honey. Just leaving the travel agency now. Traffic is awful. How was graduation? We'll see you at home soon. Should we pick up dinner to celebrate? I stared at the message. Celebrate. They wanted to celebrate now. 4 hours after missing my ceremony. After wiring $8,200 for Devin's trip during what should have been my graduation morning. I didn't respond. Went back to the laptop. Kept searching. Found another folder. Devin, trip, photos, reference. Opened it. Pinterest boards. Hundreds of saved images. Devin's inspiration for the trip. Luxury hotel rooms. Michelin star restaurants. Designer stores. Yacht clubs. Scenic overlooks. Every cliché Instagram influencer destination in Europe. One subfolder. What? To bring. Shopping lists. With check marks. every item purchased, every luxury, every single thing on his packing list that cost more than my monthly grocery budget. I backed out of the photos folder. Kept searching the cloud storage. Found Family Finances folder. My heart rate spiked. Clicked it. Tax returns, bank statements, credit card statements, investment accounts. I opened the most recent bank statement. Joint checking account, mom and dad's primary account. Balance, $47,200. They had money. They had plenty of money. They'd told me for years we were on a tight budget, that college was expensive, that I needed to be realistic about costs, that scholarships were my only option because we just don't have the funds to contribute. $47,200 in checking. Plus, I could see from the statements a savings account with $89,000, retirement accounts with over $400,000, a stock portfolio I didn't even know existed, $127,000. They weren't broke. They just didn't want to spend money on me. I screenshot everything. Bank balances, investment accounts, the savings account they'd never mentioned when I'd been taking out student loans. My phone storage filled up again. Deleted more old photos, kept documenting. Found another file. Jasmine, college, XLSX. My hands froze on the trackpad. They had a spreadsheet about my college finances. I clicked it. The spreadsheet opened. It had 4 columns: expense type, amount requested, our contribution, Jasmine's responsibility. 10 rows of expenses I'd asked them about over the years. SAT prep course. $450 requested, $0, contributed Jasmine's responsibility. College application fees. $780 requested, $0, contributed Jasmine's responsibility. Laptop for college. $800 requested, $0, contributed Jasmine's responsibility. Textbook loan cosign. $4,500 requested, $0, contributed Jasmine's responsibility. Graduation dress. $100 requested, $0, contributed Jasmine's responsibility. On and on. Every single time I'd asked for financial help, documented, with their decision next to it. $0 contributed to my college expenses. $0 contributed to my education. $0 contributed to anything I'd needed. At the bottom of the spreadsheet, total requested, $18,430. Total contributed, $0. They'd been tracking it, keeping a record of everything I'd asked for, everything they'd denied me, while simultaneously spending $127,450 on Devon's vacation. The ratio was so grotesque I couldn't process it. I took screenshots of that spreadsheet until my phone gave me a storage warning again. Didn't care. Deleted my entire camera roll from sophomore year. Kept screenshotting. Evidence. I needed evidence. Because I was going to make them answer for this. Every denial, every figure it out, every dollar they'd spent on Devon while telling me they couldn't afford to help me. The front door opened. Jasmine, we're home. Mom's voice. Cheerful, like nothing was wrong. I closed the laptop, grabbed my phone, stood up from the table just as they walked into the kitchen. Mom and Dad, both smiling. Dad was carrying takeout bags from Rosa's, the restaurant where I worked. We brought your favorite, Mom said brightly, pupusas from Rosa's, to celebrate. They'd bought celebration dinner from my workplace, from the restaurant where I worked as a hostess to afford my own college expenses. While they spent $127,450 on Devon, I looked at them standing there, smiling, holding takeout, acting like they'd done something thoughtful. How was graduation? Dad asked. We're so sorry we missed it. The travel agency appointment took forever. $8,200 wire transfer. The final payment. I'd seen it in the spreadsheet. It was fine, I said. My voice sounded strange. Flat. Like I was reading from a script. Did you get good photos? Mom set down her purse, the $680 Beverly Hills purse. We'll want to see everything. I had photos, just not the kind she meant. I'm tired, I said. I'm going to my room. But we brought dinner to celebrate. Mom's smile faltered. And we got you a cake. It's in the car. Dad, can you? I'm not hungry. I walked past them. Toward the stairs. Jasmine. Dad's voice had an edge now. We drove all the way to Rosa's for you. The least you can do is… Thanks for coming to graduation, I said, without turning around. Oh, wait. Silence behind me. I went upstairs, closed my bedroom door, locked it, sat on my bed with my phone, opened the documentation album. 47 screenshots. Bank statements. Europe spreadsheet. My college expense tracking sheet. Group chat conversations. The Lufthansa receipt. Everything. 47 pieces of evidence. But I needed more. Because the spreadsheet had shown me something important. This wasn't just about the Europe trip. This was 11 months of systematic allocation. This was a pattern. And patterns have histories. I needed to know how long this had been happening, how deep it went. How many times they'd chosen Devon over me in ways I'd been too young, or too tired, or too hopeful to notice. I needed the full timeline. I didn't sleep that night. Couldn't. Brain moving too fast. Connecting dots I'd been deliberately not connecting for years. At 2:37 a.m., still wearing my wrinkled graduation dress because I couldn't bring myself to take it off yet, I started building the timeline. Opened a new note on my phone, titled it, Pattern Documentation. Started writing everything I could remember. Every disparity. Every moment of figure it out versus automatic yes for Devon. Every financial choice that had seemed reasonable at the time, but looked different now, with $127,450 sitting in my head like a neon sign. Age 10. Birthday cakes. Mine $4.79 boxed mix. His $180 custom bakery. Age 14. School clothes. Mine $40. Target budget. His $847. Nordstrom spree. Age 14. Graduation dance dress. Mine $35. Had to return change. His spring wardrobe, full price. Age 16, SAT prep. I bought used $3 book. Devon got $2,800 summer program at State Quit. After 2 weeks. I kept typing. The list grew longer. Specifics I'd buried because looking at them directly had hurt too much. Junior year. Me working 32 hours. Week while taking AP courses. Devon sleeping till 1 p.m. daily after dropping out. Junior year winter. Asked for $4,500 loan cosign. Denied. Too much debt. Same month they deposited $12,000 into Devon's Europe fund. Senior year spring, Princeton acceptance. Their response, that's good, honey, lukewarm. Devon's Europe announcement 3 days later. Celebration dinner, champagne, hours of planning discussion. The timeline stretched back further than 11 months. This had been happening my entire childhood. I just hadn't had language for it, hadn't had framework. It was my normal, the invisible daughter who figured things out, while the golden son got everything handed to him. At 3:15 a.m., I remembered something specific. Got out of bed, went to my closet, dug through the plastic storage bins on the top shelf until I found it. My memory box from childhood. Report cards, awards, certificates, birthday cards. The physical evidence of growing up that I'd saved, because nobody else seemed to be saving it for me. I dumped it all on my bed. Started sorting. Found what I was looking for. Birthday cards from my parents. One for each year, ages 8 through 17. I opened them in chronological order. Age 8. Happy birthday, Jasmine. You're growing up so smart and strong. Love, Mom and Dad. $10 gift card to bookstore enclosed. Age 9. Happy birthday, sweetheart. Another year older. Love you. Mom and Dad. $15 gift card to Target. Age 10. Happy birthday, Jasmine. Hope you have a great day. Love, Mom and Dad. $20 Visa gift card. Generic messages. Gift cards in increasing increments. Functional, like they were checking a box. Now Devon's cards. I'd seen them over the years, left open on the kitchen counter after his birthdays. I pulled up photos on my phone. I'd taken pictures of random stuff over the years, and somewhere in there, found one. Devon's 18th birthday card. Photographed accidentally in the background of a family dinner photo from 3 years ago. I zoomed in. Could read Mom's handwriting. To our amazing son, Devon. You make us so proud every single day. Watching you grow into the man you're becoming is our greatest joy. We believe in you and your dreams. The world is yours. All our love, Mom and Dad. 3 paragraphs. Handwritten. Specific. Personal. I compared it to my age 10 card again. Hope you have a great day. 6 words. The difference was so stark it felt like violence. I took photos of all my birthday cards, added them to the documentation folder. Then I went back to the memory box, found my high school awards, National Merit Semifinalist Certificate, Academic Decathlon medals, honor roll certificates from every semester. I remembered bringing these home, setting them on the kitchen table, waiting for reaction. Mom, that's great, honey. Brief glance, back to phone. Dad, good job, Joss. Didn't look up from TV. Meanwhile, Devon had gotten a standing ovation for passing his driver's test on the 3rd try. I photographed every award, every certificate, every piece of paper that proved I'd been achieving while invisible. Added them all to documentation. 4:47 a.m. My phone was at 8% battery. I plugged it in, kept working. Went back to the Note app, started calculating. Financial disparity analysis, estimated costs over the years based on what I could remember. My childhood, approximate total parental investment, $8,000. Birthday gifts, $200 divided by year average times, 18 years equals $3,000. $600. School clothes, $100 divided by year equals $1,800. Extracurriculars, $0. I paid my own academic decathlon fees from tutoring money. College support, $0. Graduation gift, $25. Devon's childhood approximate total parental investment, $180,000 plus. Birthday parties alone, probably $30,000 plus. Over the years, huge celebrations, venues, catering, school clothes. Equipment, $15,000 plus designer brands, sports equipment. Tech, failed college attempts, $45,000, 2 separate enrollments, both incomplete. Summer programs, $8,000 plus. Europe trip, $127,450. MISC expenses, cars, insurance, spending money, investments, equals $50,000 plus additional. The ratio was approximately 22 to 1. For every dollar they'd spent on me, they'd spent 22 on Devon. I stared at the numbers until they stopped meaning anything. Then I heard footsteps in the hallway. 5:03 a.m. Someone was awake. Footsteps paused outside my door. A knock. Jasmine? Mom's voice. Quiet. Are you awake? I didn't answer. Honey, I know you're upset about graduation, but we really couldn't help the timing. The travel agency appointment was scheduled weeks ago, and with Devon leaving soon, we had to finalize everything. Silence from my side of the door. We brought you cake last night. It's in the fridge. Your favorite chocolate with vanilla frosting. We can celebrate this weekend at Devon's party. Make it a double celebration. Double celebration. My graduation and Devon's send-off to a $127,450 vacation. Equal billing. Jasmine, please say something. I stood up, walked to the door, didn't open it. How much did the cake cost? I asked through the door. Pause. What? The celebration cake. How much did it cost? I I don't know, honey. Maybe $30? It's from the grocery store bakery. Why does that? Devon's birthday cake when he turned 21. How much did that cost? Longer pause. Jasmine, I don't understand what you're. $340. From Buttercream Bakery. Custom design. 5 tiers. Gold leaf decoration. I saw the receipt. Silence. And my birthday last year? You gave me a gift card. $40. Texted me happy birthday at 9 p.m. because you forgot until Devon reminded you. That's not fair. We were busy. You spent $127,450 on Devon's Europe trip. I heard her breath catch through the door. You've been planning it for 11 months. I found the spreadsheet. All of it. Every hotel, every flight, every single expense. $127,450 total. Jasmine. Her voice had changed. Harder now. That's private financial information. You had no right to. You had no right to miss my graduation. Silence. You had no right to give me $25 for gas while spending $28,400 on first-class tickets to Paris. How did you? You had no right to tell me you couldn't afford to co-sign a $4,500 loan while depositing $12,000 into Devon's vacation fund the same month. I could hear her breathing through the door. Fast. Angry. You went through my computer. You went through my entire childhood telling me we couldn't afford things while affording everything for Devon. That's not. This is different. Devon needs a $127,000 vacation? I needed parents at my graduation. We made a mistake with the timing. We said we're sorry. You scheduled the travel agency appointment on my graduation day, on purpose. I saw the group chat. Dad said to do it Thursday. You said Friday morning. You chose that day. Silence. I could picture her face, the expression I'd seen 1,000 times when caught in something she didn't want to address. That look of, "You're being difficult," crossed with, "How dare you notice?" Jasmine. Her voice was cold now. Open this door right now. We need to talk about this appropriately. No. Excuse me? I said no. I'm done talking. I'm done asking. I'm done pretending the math doesn't matter. What math? The math where Devon gets $127,450 for vacation and I get $25 for gas. The math where you can't co-sign a $4,500 loan, but you can wire $8,200 on my graduation morning. The math where you have $89,000 in savings and $47,000 in checking and you told me for years we were broke. Her voice rose. You had no right to look at our bank accounts. You had no right to lie to me for 18 years. I heard Dad's footsteps now, coming up the stairs. His voice. What's going on? She went through my laptop, Mom said. She saw the Europe budget. She looked at our bank accounts. Jasmine. Dad's voice at the door now. Authority voice. The one he used when he expected immediate compliance. Open this door. Now. No. That's private financial information. What you did was completely inappropriate. What you did was spend 22 times more money on Devon than you spent on me over 18 years. Silence. What? Dad's voice was quieter now. I did the math. Approximate total investment in my entire childhood, $8,000. Approximate total investment in Devon's, $180,000. That's a 2-2-1 ratio. And that's being generous with my numbers. I heard them murmuring to each other, couldn't make out words. Then Dad. Jasmine, you're taking this out of context. Devon's situation is different. He's been struggling to find his path, and we believe this experience will. I've been working 30 hours a week since I was 15. Yes, and we're very proud of your work ethic. I have a 4 gigapascals and a full ride to Princeton. We know. And that's wonderful. I asked you to come to my graduation. You went to a travel agency instead. Silence. We made a mistake, Dad said finally. The timing was unfortunate. But you need to understand. Devon's trip required time-sensitive coordination. And, stop. My voice was shaking now. Not with tears. With something else. Stop explaining. Stop justifying. Stop acting like this is reasonable. Jasmine, I have screenshots of everything. The spreadsheet, the bank statements, the payment timeline, every single expense. All of it. I heard Mom's sharp intake of breath. If you took screenshots of our private financial documents, Dad said slowly, that's theft. That's potentially illegal. Cool. Call the police. Explain to them why you spent $127,000 on vacation while refusing to co-sign a $4,500 educational loan. I'm sure they'll be very concerned about my screenshots. More murmuring between them. Then Mom, what do you want, Jasmine? What did I want? I wanted them to have shown up. I wanted 18 years of different choices. I wanted birthday cakes that cost more than $4.79 and clothes from actual stores, and one single time when they'd said, yes, of course we'll help you, without making me feel guilty for asking. I wanted parents who'd kept their promise. Front row, every time. But that wasn't available anymore. That ship had sailed first-class tickets, $28,400, destination Paris. I don't know yet, I said through the door, but I know I'm done pretending this is normal, and I know I'm done being quiet about it. If you're thinking about telling people about our private family finances, Dad's voice had an edge of threat now. Everyone already knows you missed my graduation. Half the school saw the empty seats. Mrs. Patterson asked where you were. Marcus's parents asked. The Chens asked. Everyone noticed. Silence. And someone's going to ask why. Someone's going to ask what was more important than your daughter's Ivy League graduation. And when they do, I stopped. Realized something. I didn't have to wait for someone to ask. I could show them. The idea arrived fully formed. Perfect. Obvious. Devon's send-off party. This Saturday. 200 people invited extended family, parents' friends, church community, Devon's college friends, everyone who'd ever called my parents, so supportive, and such dedicated parents. 200 witnesses. I could make them all see the math I'd been living. When they ask, I continued carefully, I'll tell them the truth. Jasmine, if you embarrass this family, Dad started. You embarrassed me. Empty seats at graduation. That was embarrassing. I heard them whispering again, sharper now, arguing quietly. Then footsteps. Walking away. Going back downstairs. I stood at my door listening until the house went quiet again. 5:47 a.m. The sun was starting to rise. Light creeping through my bedroom window. The beginning of the first Saturday of the rest of my life. I sat back down on my bed. Looked at my phone. Documentation folder. 83 files, now. Evidence. Timeline. Pattern. Proof. Devon's party was in 8 days. I had 8 days to decide if I was really going to do this. 8 days to plan. 8 days to build a case so airtight they couldn't deny it. 8 days to figure out how to make 200 people see what I'd been seeing my whole life. I opened my note app, started a new note. Titled it, Riverside Gardens Party, Action Plan. Then I started writing. Because I'd spent 18 years figuring it out on my own. Time to make them figure out what happens when the invisible daughter becomes impossible to ignore. I called Keisha at 6:42 a.m. She answered on the second ring, voice thick with sleep. Jas? What's wrong? Can I come over? Pause. I heard rustling. Her sitting up. Now? Now. Yeah. Yeah. Of course. You okay? No. Okay. Come over. I changed out of my graduation dress finally. put on jeans and a t-shirt, grabbed my phone, my laptop, the printed screenshots I'd made at 4 a.m. using Dad's office printer while they slept. Drove to Keisha's apartment across town. She lived in a two-bedroom with her older sister Maya, both of them working and saving money before Maya's nursing school started in the fall. Keisha was waiting at the door when I pulled up, took one look at my face and pulled me inside. "Kitchen," she said. "I'm making coffee." Her kitchen table was small, circular, covered with a floral tablecloth her grandmother had made. Morning sunlight came through the window above the sink. The apartment smelled like coffee and the lavender candles Maya was always burning. I sat down, put my phone and laptop and printed papers on the table. Keisha set a mug in front of me. Black coffee, the way I liked it. Sat down across from me. "Talk," she said. So I did. Told her everything, the graduation, the Target gift card, the empty seats, finding the spreadsheet, the $127,450 total, the 11-month timeline, the birthday cake disparities, the bank accounts I wasn't supposed to know about, the confrontation through my bedroom door this morning. Keisha didn't interrupt. Just listened, her expression shifting from concern to disbelief to something harder. When I finished, she sat back in her chair. $127,450, she said slowly. $127,450. For a vacation. For Devin to find himself in Europe. While you worked 3 jobs through high school. While they told me they couldn't afford to help with college. Keisha was quiet for a moment. Then, "Jas, this isn't favoritism." I looked up at her. "This is financial abuse," she said. "What you're describing, systematic resource deprivation of one child while lavishly funding another, that's a recognized form of abuse. I learned about it in my CJ class last semester." CJ. Criminal Justice. Keisha was a junior majoring in criminal justice at State, working toward law school eventually. Abuse? The word felt too big, too serious. "Yes," Keisha leaned forward. "Look, I'm not a lawyer yet, but we studied family dynamics in abuse cases. What you're describing checks every box. Deliberate deprivation, comparison, making you feel like you're being difficult for having basic needs. Gaslighting, telling you they're broke while having $89,000 in savings." I thought about Mom's voice through the door. "You're taking this out of context." "But they're not. I mean, they fed me, they housed me, they didn't." "Abuse isn't just physical, Jas." Keisha's voice was gentle but firm. "And it doesn't have to be all or nothing. They met your basic survival needs, great, that's the legal minimum. But emotionally, financially, in every way that matters for a kid's development, they chose your brother over you, repeatedly, for 18 years, with receipts." I wrapped my hands around the coffee mug, warm, solid. "You said you worked 3 jobs, Keisha continued. "Since you were 15, that's not normal. That's not building character. That's parentification, making a child responsible for things parents should provide." "But I wanted to work. I wanted to save for college." "Did you want to? Or did you have to? Because they made it clear they wouldn't help you." I didn't have an answer for that. Keisha reached across the table, touched my hand. "Jas, listen to me. You are not being ungrateful. You are not being dramatic. You are not taking this out of context." Her words hit something behind my ribcage, something that had been holding my spine rigid since 5 a.m. "They missed your graduation," she continued. "Your Ivy League graduation. For a travel agency appointment. That alone is—" She stopped, breathed. "My mom would have walked through fire to be at my high school graduation, and I'm going to community college. You're going to Princeton on a full ride, and your parents chose a wire transfer appointment over seeing you walk. They said it was time-sensitive. Everything is time-sensitive when you want it to be. They chose what mattered to them, and it wasn't you." I felt tears building. Blinked them back. "What do you want to do?" Keisha asked. I pulled out my phone, opened the documentation folder, turned it to show her. I want everyone to know, I said. I want every single person who's ever called them such supportive parents to see the math. Keisha scrolled through the screenshots. Her jaw tightened with each swipe. Devon's send-off party, I continued. This Saturday, 200 people. Extended family, their friends, church community, everyone. Keisha looked up from my phone. You're going to expose them publicly? Yes. At your brother's party? At my brother's $127,450 Bon Voyage celebration while I'm $89,000 in student loan debt? Yes. A slow smile spread across Keisha's face. Okay, yes. But you need to do this right. You need this airtight. That's why I came to you. What's your plan so far? I pulled out my laptop, opened the action plan note I'd started at 6 a.m., print the spreadsheet, make packets, distribute them at the party, say what needs to be said, show the evidence, leave. Keisha nodded slowly. Good start, but you need more. You need legal backing. Legal backing? You need to talk to a lawyer first. Not for a lawsuit, though honestly, maybe, but for validation. You need someone with legal authority to look at this and say, yes, this is as messed up as you think it is. Because your parents are going to call you crazy. They're going to say you're exaggerating. You need third-party validation. I don't have money for a lawyer. My aunt, Keisha said immediately. Well, not my aunt, my mom's best friend, but I've called her Aunt Rebecca my whole life. She's a family law attorney. She does free consultations. She's helped me with legal questions for school projects. She'll see you. Are you sure? I'll call her right now. Keisha pulled out her phone. It was 7:23 a.m. on a Saturday morning. Keisha, it's too early to... Keisha was already dialing. She held up a finger. Wait. Aunt Rebecca? Hey, it's Keisha. I know it's early. I'm sorry. No. Everyone's fine. Listen. I have a friend who needs a legal consultation. Family law. Financial abuse situation. Yeah, really serious. Could you see her today? Pause. Keisha listening. She's here with me right now. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Yes, I'll bring her. Love you too. She hung up, looked at me. We're meeting her at her office at 10 a.m. Today? Today. She cleared her morning. Said this sounded important enough to come in on a Saturday. I stared at Keisha. Why are you doing this? Doing what? Helping me. You just woke up. I dumped all of this on you. You're making calls, scheduling appointments. Jas, Keisha's voice was firm. You're my best friend. You've been working yourself to death for 6 years while your parents funded your dropout brother's European Instagram vacation. Of course I'm helping you. This is, she gestured at my laptop. My screenshots, the evidence spread across her kitchen table. This is not okay. None of this is okay. And someone needs to tell you that. The tears I'd been holding back since graduation finally broke through. Keisha stood up, came around the table, hugged me while I cried into her shoulder. We're going to fix this, she said quietly. Maybe not your relationship with them honestly. That might be broken past repair. But we're going to make sure everyone knows the truth. We're going to make sure you get what you deserve. Okay? I nodded against her shoulder. Okay, she said. Now drink your coffee. We have 3 hours to organize your evidence before the lawyer meeting. And Jas? Yeah? This is going to be the most satisfying expose of your life. Trust me. For the first time since finding that spreadsheet, I felt something other than rage or grief. I felt hope. Rebecca Wallace's law office was in a converted Victorian house downtown, painted cream with forest green shutters, a bronze plaque by the door, Wallace and Associates, Family Law. Keisha and I arrived at 9:52 a.m. I was carrying a leather portfolio I'd bought at a thrift store sophomore year for Mock Trial Club Professional. Organized, The kind of thing that said, "I take this seriously." Inside, the reception area was empty. Weekend. A woman in her late 40s appeared from an interior office, tall, black, natural hair in locks pulled back, wearing jeans and a Princeton sweatshirt. I stopped. "Princeton," I said, pointing at her sweatshirt. She looked down at it, smiled. "Class of '99. Class of..." I swallowed. "I'm incoming freshman this fall. Full scholarship." Her smile widened. "Congratulations. That's an incredible achievement." She extended her hand. "Rebecca Wallace." Jasmine Rivera. Her handshake was firm, warm. She gestured toward her office. "Come on back." Her office was lined with bookshelves, law books, case files, framed diplomas on the wall. Princeton undergrad, Harvard law. She saw me looking. "First-generation college student," she said, settling into her desk chair. "Parents were immigrants. Worked 3 jobs to help with what scholarships didn't cover." So when Keisha called this morning and mentioned financial disparity in a family, let's just say I cleared my schedule. Something in my chest loosened. Keisha and I sat in the chairs across from her desk. "Okay," Rebecca said, pulling out a legal pad. "Tell me everything. Don't leave anything out, even if it seems small. The pattern matters as much as the individual incidents." So I told her. Started with the Target gift card and worked backward. The missed graduation. The $127,450 Europe trip. The spreadsheet. The 11-month timeline. The bank accounts. The loan denial while depositing $12,000 into Devon's fund. The birthday cake disparities. The clothes. The SAT prep. The 2-2-to-1 ratio. Rebecca took notes. Asked clarifying questions. Let me talk without interruption. When I finished, she set down her pen. "Do you have documentation?" she asked. I opened my portfolio. Pulled out the printed screenshots, all 83 of them, organized in sheet protectors with tabs. "Bank statements," I said, handing her the first section. "Showing $89,000 in savings and $47,000 in checking. They told me for years they couldn't afford to help with college." Rebecca flipped through them. Her expression remained neutral, professional. "Europe trip spreadsheet." I handed her the next section. Complete breakdown. $127,450 total. 11-month payment timeline. Every expense itemized. More pages turning. My college expense tracker. I gave her the third section. They made a spreadsheet of everything I asked for. $18,000 in requested support. $0 contributed. Rebecca's jaw tightened slightly. Group chat screenshots. Text messages. Timeline of key incidents. Birthday card comparisons. I handed her everything. Watched her review it methodically. The office was quiet except for turning pages. Finally, Rebecca set down the papers. Looked at me directly. "In 27 years of practicing family law," she said slowly, "this is in the top 5 most egregious cases of financial favoritism I've encountered." The validation hit like a physical force. "Is it abuse?" I asked. My voice came out smaller than intended. Keisha said it might be classified as abuse, but I wasn't sure if... "Yes." Rebecca's voice was firm. "What you're describing is financial abuse and emotional neglect. It's a recognized pattern in family law. Discriminatory parental financial allocation is the technical term." She pulled up something on her computer, turned the screen to show me. A legal article. "Financial abuse in families doesn't always look like stealing a child's money or denying food," she explained. "It includes systematic deprivation of resources while lavishly funding another child, especially when it's this extreme and documented." "Can I..." I stopped. "Is there legal recourse? Can I sue them?" Rebecca leaned back in her chair. "That's complicated. Parents aren't legally obligated to fund college education in most states. So a lawsuit for the Europe trip money versus college money probably wouldn't succeed on those grounds alone." My hope deflated. "However," she continued, "there are options. You could pursue a civil case for educational support owed, though it's a difficult case to win. There's precedent. There was a New Jersey case in 2014 where a court ordered parents to contribute to college despite estrangement, but it's an uphill battle and expensive. So there's nothing I can do? I didn't say that. Rebecca smiled slightly. Legal action isn't your only option. And honestly, given your timeline and goals, it might not be your best option. What do you mean? You said there's a party. 200 people. Your parents' social circle. You want to expose this publicly? Yes. Rebecca nodded. Then you don't need a lawsuit. You need documentation and truth. You need to make it impossible for them to deny, which you already have. She tapped my portfolio. This is incredibly comprehensive evidence. The spreadsheet alone is damning. The side-by-side comparison with your expenses? Devastating. But is it legal for me to show people their financial information? At a private party where you're an invited guest? Yes. You're not publishing it online. You're not committing defamation because it's factual. You're not stealing. You made copies of documents you discovered. Legally, you're on solid ground. Relief flooded through me. My recommendation? Rebecca leaned forward. Do exactly what you planned. Print the evidence. Make packets. Distribute them at the party. But add one thing. What? A cover letter. 1 page. Factual, unemotional, bullet-pointed. Make it about numbers, not feelings. Let the math speak for itself. She pulled out a template, started typing. Something like this. To family and friends. The following documents detail financial allocation in our family over the past 18 years. Devin received $127,450 for a European vacation. I received $25 for graduation gas money. Devin's birthday cakes averaged $200. Mine averaged $15. I was denied a $4,500 educational loan, while $12,000 was deposited into Devin's trip fund the same month. Our parents have $89,000 in savings. I have $89,000 in student loans. These are facts, not opinions. Make of them what you will. She turned the laptop to show me. It was perfect. Clinical. Devastating. That's your opening page, Rebecca said. Then the spreadsheet, then the bank statements, then the comparison documents. Let people draw their own conclusions. They're going to say I'm being ungrateful, I said. That I'm airing private family business. They probably will, Rebecca agreed. But everyone else at that party will be doing math in their heads. $127,450 versus $25. That math doesn't care about gratitude or privacy. That math speaks for itself. She printed out the cover letter template, handed it to me. One more thing, she said. After the party, if they threaten you legally or otherwise, call me. Immediately. I'll represent you pro bono if it comes to that. Why? I asked. Why would you do that? Rebecca smiled, gestured at her Princeton sweatshirt. Because I was you. Different specifics, same story. My parents couldn't fund my education, but they also couldn't fund anything. They were just poor. Your parents chose not to fund your education while funding a 6-figure vacation for your brother. That's not poverty. That's cruelty. She stood up, extended her hand again. Go to that party, Jasmine. Tell your truth. Show your evidence. And don't let anyone make you feel guilty for exposing what they should be ashamed of. I shook her hand. Thank you. Thank me by succeeding at Princeton. First-generation students like us, we have to succeed loudly. It's the best revenge. We left her office at 11:47 a.m. In the car, Keisha looked at me. Feel better? I feel validated, I said. She called it one of the top 5 most egregious cases in 27 years. Because it is. And now you have a lawyer on record saying so. I looked at the cover letter template in my portfolio. Devin's party is in 7 days, I said. Then we have 7 days to make this perfect. Keisha replied. Where do we start? I pulled out my phone, opened my action plan note. We start by organizing this evidence into packets, 50 copies. Then we figure out exactly what I'm going to say when everyone's watching. You're going to need a speech. I'm going to need the truth. The speech is just delivery method. Keisha grinned. Look at you. Lawyer brain already. Rebecca went to Harvard Law, I said. Maybe I should too. After Princeton. Lawyer Jasmine Rivera. I love it. You'd destroy people in court. I thought about my parents. About the confrontation through my bedroom door this morning. About 18 years of being told to figure it out. Yeah, I said. I think I would. The next 6 days were a blur of organization and preparation. Sunday morning, Keisha and I went to FedEx. Printed 50 complete evidence packets. Each one had. Rebecca's cover letter, I'd customized it slightly, made it sharper. The complete Europe trip spreadsheet, all 18 tabs. My college expense tracker. The $0 contribution spreadsheet. Bank statement excerpts, balances circled in red. Side-by-side birthday card photos. Mine, generic. His, personal. Payment timeline. 11 months of deposits highlighted. The Lufthansa receipt, $28,400 for first-class tickets. Each packet was 47 pages, bound with a black cover. Professional, undeniable. The FedEx employee helping us, a college student named Marcus, different Marcus from graduation, looked at the documents while printing. This is wild, he said quietly. This is your family? This is my family, I confirmed. And you're showing everyone at a party? Yes. He was quiet while the printer ran. Then, my parents did something similar. Not this extreme, but I get it. Sometimes people need to see the receipts. He charged us cost price for everything. Student discount, he said, even though that wasn't a thing at FedEx. By Sunday afternoon, we had 50 packets stacked in boxes in Keisha's apartment. Monday, I filed a police report. Not for criminal charges, there was nothing criminal about favoritism, technically, but Rebecca had suggested creating a paper trail. Documentation that I'd brought this to authorities, established a record, made it official. The officer who took my report, Officer Mendoza, mid-30s, sympathetic, listened to the whole story. I can't do anything about parental favoritism, she said carefully, but I can file this as a family dispute report. It creates a record. If they threaten you, harass you, retaliate in any way after your public disclosure, this report establishes the context. It shows you had cause. Cause for what? For protecting yourself, for telling the truth, for whatever comes next. She gave me a case number, FD20247841. I added it to my evidence folder. Tuesday, I wrote my speech. First draft, 847 words. Too long, too emotional, too much about my feelings, not enough about facts. Keisha read it, shook her head. Cut everything that's you explaining how you feel. Let the numbers do that work. Second draft, 412 words. Better. Factual. Timeline of events. Cost comparisons. The math. Third draft, 289 words. Perfect. Started with, I'm Jasmine. I'm Devin's sister. I'm here to share some context about the trip we're celebrating. Ended with, these are facts. The evidence is in your hands. Draw your own conclusions. Nothing inflammatory, nothing dramatic. Just truth and numbers. I practiced it 47 times. Timed myself. 2 minutes, 13 seconds. Short enough to finish before anyone could stop me. Long enough to make every point land. Keisha filmed me practicing. We watched the footage, critiqued my delivery. Don't look down when you mention the $127,450, she said. Look right at them. Make eye contact. That's your power number. Should I cry? No, absolutely not. You're not sad anymore. You're not begging for understanding. You're presenting evidence. Be a lawyer, not a victim. Wednesday, I confirmed party details. The event was at Riverside Gardens, same place they'd rejected for my graduation party when I'd suggested it months ago. Too expensive for just a graduation, honey. The Civic Center is fine for you. For Devin's send-off? They'd rented the waterfront pavilion. 200 confirmed guests. Catering package, open bar, champagne fountain, professional photographer. I called the venue, pretended to be confirming details for my mother. The coordinator was happy to help. Yes, the Rivera party. Saturday at 2:30 p.m. We have everything set. The champagne fountain arrives at 1 p.m. Catering setup starts at noon. Is Mrs. Rivera still planning to give a toast at 3:30? Yes, I lied. And there might be one more person speaking. Oh, wonderful. We can add them to the timeline. Who should I list? The sister, Jasmine Rivera. Perfect. I'll note that. 3 minutes maximum. Great. I'll let the photographer know. He'll want to capture that. Oh, he would definitely want to capture that. Thursday, I got my car detailed. Weird priority, maybe, but I wanted to be able to leave that party with dignity. Wanted my exit to be clean, powerful, ready. No one was going to block me in or delay me or force me to stay in the chaos after I dropped the truth bomb. The car wash guy, Eduardo, asked why I was getting the full detail package. Big event Saturday, I said. Quinceañera? Wedding? My brother's going away party. That's nice. You close with your brother? Not anymore. He looked at me for a long moment, then nodded. Sometimes family is complicated. Sometimes family is $127,450 worth of complicated. I don't know why I said it. Exhaustion, maybe. Eduardo laughed. That's specific. That's factual. He gave me an extra wax coat for free. Friday morning, I got an email from Princeton. Subject line: Welcome to Princeton, Summer Reading and Orientation Information. I almost deleted it without reading. Couldn't handle thinking about Princeton right now, about the future, about anything past Saturday's party. But I opened it. The email welcomed me to the class of 2028. Told me about summer reading selections. Orientation week schedule. Move-in day in August. Housing assignments coming soon. There was a quote at the bottom, something about Princeton's mission, in the nation's service and the service of humanity. I thought about service, about truth, about humanity. What I was doing Saturday, was that service? Or was it just revenge? I decided it was both. Sometimes serving truth looks like burning down lies. Friday afternoon, my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Hello? Jasmine? It's Rosa. From the restaurant. Rosa. My boss at Rosa's. The woman who'd told me I should run towards something instead of away from something. Hi, Rosa. Is everything okay? I heard about your graduation. That your parents missed it. Of course she'd heard. Small town. Everyone knew everyone. Yeah, I said. They did. And I heard they spent a lot of money on your brother's vacation. $127,000. Rosa was quiet for a moment. Then, Mija, I want you to know something. You've worked for me for 3 years. You've never been late. Never complained. Always showed up. Even when you were exhausted. You know how many adults can't do that? Rosa, let me finish. Whatever you're planning to do about this situation, and I think you're planning something, I can hear it in your voice, do it. Don't let anyone make you feel guilty for standing up for yourself. How did you know I was planning something? She laughed. Because you're smart. And angry. And you have your evidence. I've known girls like you before. They don't stay quiet. Is that good? It's necessary. The world needs people who don't stay quiet when something's wrong. We talked for another 20 minutes. She told me about her own family, about similar dynamics with her siblings, about the day she'd finally told her parents the truth about how their favoritism had hurt her. Did it change anything? I asked. No, but I changed. I stopped waiting for them to see me. I started making sure everyone else did. After we hung up, I sat with that for a while. I stopped waiting for them to see me. That's what tomorrow was. The end of waiting. Friday night, I couldn't sleep. Lay in bed reviewing the speech in my head, going over every line, every number, every fact. At 2:14 a.m., I got up. Went downstairs to the kitchen for water. Mom was there, sitting at the table in the dark with a cup of tea. We stared at each other. "Can't sleep?" she asked. "No, me neither." She gestured at the chair across from her. "Sit?" I didn't sit. "Jasmine, I know you're angry, and I know the graduation timing was bad. But this has gone far enough. You need to let it go." "Let what go?" "This vendetta. This obsession with the Europe trip cost. It's not healthy." "You think my obsession is unhealthy? You spent 11 months planning a $127,000 vacation for Devon while I worked 3 jobs. That's different." "You're right. It is different. Because I have evidence now. I have documentation. I have legal opinions. I have everything I need to show everyone exactly what you did." Mom set down her tea. "What are you talking about?" "Tomorrow. The party. I'm going to tell everyone the truth." Her face went white. "You wouldn't." "I would. I am. Jasmine, if you embarrass this family in front of everyone we know, you embarrassed me with empty chairs at graduation." "Fair's fair. That was a mistake. We've apologized. You apologized for the timing, not for the choices. Not for 18 years of choosing Devon over me. Not for lying about being broke while having $89,000 in savings. You apologized for getting caught." Mom stood up. "I'm your mother. You owe me respect." "You're right. You're my mother. And you owed me a lot more than $25 for gas." I left her standing there in the kitchen. Went back to my room. Locked the door. At 4:21 a.m., my phone buzzed. Text from Keisha. "Keisha. You awake?" Me. "Yeah." Keisha. "Tomorrow's the day. You ready?" Me. "I think so." Keisha. "You're doing the right thing. Remember that. No matter what happens, no matter what they say, you're doing the right thing." Me. "Thanks, Keish." Keisha. "I'll be there. Front row. Recording everything. You're not alone." Me. "I know." I set down my phone. Tomorrow was Saturday, August 12th. Devon's send-off party. 200 witnesses. 50 evidence packets. 1 speech. The truth. Itemized and documented. I'd spent 18 years being invisible, resourceful, independent, self-sufficient, all the words they use to describe the daughter they didn't invest in. Tomorrow, I was going to be impossible to ignore. Tomorrow, the math was going to speak for itself. Tomorrow, everyone was going to figure it out. Because I was done figuring it out alone. Saturday morning arrived with the kind of perfect weather that felt like mockery. Cloudless sky. 72 degrees. Light breeze off the river. The universe was setting the stage for a beautiful party. I woke up at 6:47 a.m. without an alarm. Lay in bed for a moment. Staring at the ceiling. Feeling the weight of what I was about to do settle over me like armor. Today, 2:30 p.m. Riverside Gardens. 200 witnesses. I got up, showered, stood under hot water for 20 minutes, mentally rehearsing the speech one more time. "I'm Jasmine. I'm Devon's sister. I'm here to share some context about the trip we're celebrating. Devon received $127,450 for 3 months in Europe. I received $25 for graduation gas money. These are facts. The evidence is in your hands. Draw your own conclusions. 2 minutes, 13 seconds, 50 evidence packets, 1 truth bomb." By 7:30 a.m., I was dressed. Not fancy jeans. Princeton t-shirt statement piece. Keisha's idea. Simple makeup. I wasn't trying to impress anyone. I was trying to be taken seriously. Went downstairs. Kitchen empty. Parents' bedroom door closed. Devin probably still asleep, he never woke before noon. Made coffee. Toast. Couldn't eat the toast. Stomach too tight. My phone buzzed. Keisha. Morning. Today's the day. How you feeling? Me. Terrified. Keisha. Good. That means you're taking it seriously. I'm coming over at 1. We'll drive together. Me. Thank you. Keisha. What are sisters for? Sisters. Chosen family. The kind that actually shows up. At 9:15 a.m., I loaded my car. The boxes of evidence, packets 50 of them, organized, labeled. My leather portfolio with the speech printed on index cards, backup in case my brain blanked. Phone charger. Water bottle. The case number from Officer Mendoza on a sticky note in my wallet, just in case. Everything ready. I sat in my car for a moment, looking at the house I'd grown up in. White 2-story colonial, well-maintained lawn, 2-car garage, the kind of house that looked like a happy family lived there. Appearances, I'd learned, were often lies. At 10:03 a.m., Mom found me. I was sitting at the kitchen table, reviewing my speech cards, when she walked in. She looked tired, like she hadn't slept either. Jasmine. Her voice was careful. We need to talk. No, we don't. Please, just listen. I looked up at her. She sat down across from me, folded her hands on the table, the way she did when she was trying to have a serious conversation. I know you're hurt, she started, and I know we've made mistakes, but what you're planning to do today, it's going to damage relationships permanently. Once you say these things publicly, there's no taking them back. I know. Is that really what you want? To destroy your family over money? This isn't about money, Mom. It's about choices. It's about 18 years of choosing Devin over me, and then lying about why. We didn't lie. You told me you couldn't afford to help with college. You have $89,000 in savings. She flinched. You told me we were on a tight budget. You spent $127,450 on Devin's vacation. That's different. You told me you'd be front row at my graduation. You went to a travel agency. Her jaw tightened. We've apologized for that. No, you've excused it. There's a difference. Silence stretched between us. If you do this, Mom said quietly, you're going to lose us. You understand that? Your father and I, Devin, extended family, everyone will take sides. And you won't win. I don't need to win. I need to tell the truth. The truth is more complicated than a spreadsheet, Jasmine. Then explain the complication. Explain how spending $127,450 on Devin's vacation while giving me $25 for graduation is complicated. I'm listening. She opened her mouth, closed it. No explanation came. That's what I thought, I said. I stood up, gathered my speech cards. Don't do this, Mom said, her voice cracked. Please, I'm asking you as your mother. Don't humiliate us like this. I looked at her for a long moment. You humiliated yourself, I said. I'm just documenting it. I left her sitting at the kitchen table, went back to my room, locked the door. At 11:47 a.m., Dad knocked. Jasmine. Open the door. I didn't respond. I know you're in there. We need to discuss your intentions for today. Nothing to discuss. If you go through with this plan, whatever it is, there will be consequences. Legal consequences, potentially, defamation, libel, theft of private documents. I talked to a lawyer, Dad. Everything I'm doing is legal. The documents are factual. There's no defamation when you're telling the truth. Silence. Then, you talked to a lawyer? Rebecca Wallace, family law attorney, Princeton class of '99. She said this is one of the most egregious cases of financial favoritism she's seen in 27 years. She offered to represent me pro bono if you try anything. More silence. Who the hell do you think you are? His voice was different now. Angry. You're 18 years old. You think you know everything? You think you can just air our private business and destroy this family's reputation? I think I can tell 200 people the truth about how you allocated $127,450 to Devon's vacation and $25 to my graduation. Yes. You're making a huge mistake. Probably, but it's my mistake to make. Just like the Europe trip was your choice to fund. Choices have consequences, right? That's what you've been telling me my whole life. I heard him breathing hard on the other side of the door. Don't come to the party, he said finally. You're not welcome. If you show up, I'll have you removed. It's Devon's party. Does he know you're uninviting me? No answer. That's what I thought. His footsteps retreated down the hallway. At 1 p.m. exactly, Keisha arrived. I heard her voice downstairs talking to my parents. Couldn't make out words. Didn't need to. 3 minutes later, she was knocking on my door. It's me. I unlocked it. Keisha came in, closed the door behind her, looked at me. Your parents just tried to convince me to talk you out of this. And I told them, if they'd spent half as much energy on your graduation as they did on Devon's vacation, we wouldn't be having this conversation. I laughed. Couldn't help it. Your mom is crying downstairs, Keisha said. Your dad looks like he wants to commit murder. Devon's confused. Apparently they haven't told him what's happening. Good. He can find out with everyone else. You ready? I looked around my room. At the Princeton acceptance letter still pinned to my bulletin board. At the graduation photo, someone had texted me walking across the stage, searching the crowd for parents who weren't there. Yeah, I said. I'm ready. We loaded the evidence boxes into Keisha's car. She'd insisted on driving. You're going to be emotional after. I'll get us out safely. Smart. At 1:47 p.m., we left. I didn't say goodbye to my parents. There was nothing left to say. Riverside Gardens looked perfect. Of course it did. My parents had spent a fortune making sure Devon's send-off would be magazine-worthy. We arrived at 2:15 p.m., 15 minutes before official start time. The parking lot was already half full. I recognized cars. Aunt Linda's SUV, Uncle Carlos's truck, the Chen's minivan, Dad's business partner's Tesla. Everyone was here. Perfect. Keisha parked near the exit. Strategic positioning, she said. When you're ready to leave, we leave fast. I grabbed one box of evidence packets. Keisha grabbed the other. We walked toward the venue. The waterfront pavilion was stunning. White tent, open sides, view of the river. String lights already glowing even though it was bright afternoon. Tables with white linens. Centerpieces with fresh flowers. A champagne fountain, actual fountain, 3 tiers, already flowing. I saw the catering setup. The bar. The professional photographer adjusting his camera equipment. The Bon Voyage Devon banner stretched across the back wall. This party probably cost $15,000 minimum. They wouldn't spend $450 on my SAT prep. But this was worth it. Where do you want to set up? Keisha asked quietly. I scanned the space. Found a table near the entrance. Not yet claimed by guests. Perfect distribution point. There. We carried the boxes over, started arranging the evidence packets in neat stacks. 50 packets, each one a bomb waiting to detonate. People started arriving. Aunt Linda spotted me first. She rushed over, arms outstretched. Jasmine, Mija, I'm so glad you came. I heard about graduation. I'm so sorry. It's okay, Aunt Linda. No, it's not okay. I wanted to be there, but I was out of state for work. But I'm here now. She hugged me, stepped back, noticed the packets on the table. What's all this? Context, I said. About the trip. She looked confused but nodded. Okay. Well, I'm going to say hi to your mom. We'll talk later? Definitely. More guests arrived. The Patels, the Nguyens, church friends, Dad's colleagues, Devon's college friends who didn't know he'd dropped out twice. Everyone smiling, celebrating, excited to toast Devon's European adventure. None of them knew what was coming. At 2:28 p.m., my parents arrived with Devon. They walked in like royalty. Mom in a designer dress, Dad in a suit, Devin in the Tom Ford suit they'd bought him the $2,400 one from the spreadsheet. Devin saw me immediately. His face lit up. He actually looked happy to see me. "Jas, you came." He walked over, arms out for a hug. I stepped back. "Don't." His smile faltered. "What's wrong?" "You'll find out." Mom and Dad saw me then. Their faces went pale. Dad walked over quickly. "Jasmine." "I'm Devin's sister. I'm here to celebrate." I gestured at the evidence packets. And to provide some context. Mom's eyes landed on the stacks of papers. "What is that?" "Documentation." "Jasmine, don't—" The coordinator's voice interrupted over a microphone. "Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Devin's Bon Voyage celebration. Please grab some champagne and find your seats. We'll begin the program in just a few minutes." People started moving toward tables. The champagne fountain was mobbed. I stayed at my distribution table. Keisha stood next to me, phone in hand. "I'm recording everything, multiple angles, already uploading to cloud storage in case they try to grab my phone." "Perfect." At 2:35 p.m., guests were seated. 214 people, I'd later learn. Slightly more than expected. The coordinator checked her clipboard, walked to the microphone. "We're going to begin with a few words from Devin's parents, Robert and Maria Rivera. Then we'll hear from Devin himself, and finally from his sister Jasmine." My name on the program. Perfect. Mom's head snapped toward me. Dad looked like he might actually have a heart attack. But they couldn't object now. Not in front of 200 people. Not without causing a scene. I smiled at them. They walked to the microphone. Dad spoke first. "Thank you all for being here. Maria and I are so proud of Devin. This trip represents his growth, his curiosity, his desire to experience the world. We're grateful to support his journey." Support. Such a nice word for $127,450. Mom spoke next. "Devin has always been our dreamer, our explorer. We can't wait to see where this adventure takes him. We know he'll make us proud." Applause. Devin stood up, went to the microphone. "Thanks, Mom and Dad. Thanks everyone for coming. I've been planning this trip for months. Well, my parents have been planning it, let's be honest." Laughter from the crowd. "But seriously, I'm so grateful. Not everyone gets this opportunity. I'm going to make the most of it. Take lots of photos. Have incredible experiences. Maybe I'll find myself out there, you know?" More applause. Cheering. Devin's friends whistling. He stepped away from the microphone. The coordinator looked at her clipboard. And now, a few words from Devin's sister, Jasmine Rivera. This was it. I stood up, grabbed one evidence packet from my table, walked to the microphone. 214 people looking at me. My parents' faces frozen in horror. Devin smiling, clueless. Keisha with her phone raised, recording. I placed the evidence packet on the podium in front of me, adjusted the microphone, looked at the crowd, and began. "I'm Jasmine," I say into the microphone. "I'm Devin's sister. I'm here to share some context about the trip we're celebrating." My voice is steady, calm, professional. 214 faces watching me. 3 weeks ago, I graduated from high school. I was accepted to Princeton University on a full academic scholarship, Presidential Merit Award, $64,000 per year value. Polite applause starts. I hold up my hand. My parents missed my graduation. They were at a travel agency appointment, finalizing details for Devin's trip. The applause dies. That morning, they gave me a gift. A Target gift card. $25. For gas money to drive myself to the ceremony. I let that sit for a moment. That same morning, they wired $8,200 to the travel agency. The final payment for Devin's trip. Whispers starting in the crowd. I open the evidence packet. Hold up the first page, the cover letter. Devin's trip costs $127,450. Total. I found the spreadsheet, all 18 tabs, every expense itemized. Gasps now. Actual audible gasps. My parents have 50 copies of the complete documentation on that table. I point to where Keisha stands. Please, take one. Review the evidence. I'll wait. People look at each other. Aunt Linda stands up, walks to the table, takes a packet. That breaks the dam. 20 people rush to the table. Then 40. Then 60. Keisha distributes packets. People flip through them immediately. The photographer is capturing everything. Perfect. I wait at the microphone while the chaos builds. People reading spreadsheets, pointing at numbers, whispering to each other. $127,000? Someone says loud enough to hear. Dad stands up. Jasmine, that's enough. I'm not finished. My voice cuts through the tent. Everyone, please, there's more context you need. People settle slightly. All eyes on me. I worked 3 jobs through high school. Morrison's Grocery, tutoring, Rosa's restaurant. 32 hours a week, while maintaining a 4 gigapascals. I flipped to the next page in my packet. Junior year. I asked my parents to co-sign a $4,500 student loan for textbooks and a laptop for college. They said no. Too much debt. They said we were on a tight budget. I hold up the bank statement page. They have $89,000 in savings, $47,000 in checking, over $400,000 in retirement accounts. They weren't broke. They chose not to help me. The tent is silent now, completely silent except for wind off the river. That same month they told me they couldn't co-sign my $4,500 loan. I continue. They deposited $12,000 into Devon's Europe Fund. I found the payment timeline. 11 months of deposits. You can see it in your packets. More page turning. People finding the timeline. Mr. Chen, Dad's business partner, stands up. Robert, is this true? Dad's face is red. This is private family business. Jasmine has no right. I have every right to tell the truth, I say into the microphone. These are facts, not opinions. Facts. I flip to another page. Birthday cakes. Mine averaged $15 over 18 years. Boxed mix. Minimal decoration. Devon's averaged $200. Custom bakery orders. The disparity is documented in your packets. School clothes. I got $40 Target budgets. Devon got $847 shopping sprees at Nordstrom. College support. I was denied a $4,500 loan. Devon received $127,450 for vacation. My voice rises slightly. The ratio is 2 to 1. For every dollar invested in my childhood, they invested 22 in Devon's. The math is in your hands. Aunt Linda is crying, actually crying, staring at the spreadsheet. Uncle Carlos looks furious. He's glaring at my father. Devon's friends are whispering to each other, looking at him with new expressions. Devon himself looks confused, lost. Jas, I don't understand. Of course you don't, I say, not unkindly. You've never had to. You've never had to work for anything. You've never been told to figure it out. You've never been given $25 while someone else got $127,450. Mom stands up. Jasmine, please, stop this. Why? Because it's embarrassing? Because everyone is seeing the truth now? Because you're tearing this family apart? No, Mom, you did that 18 years ago. When you decided one child was worth investing in and one wasn't, I'm just showing everyone the receipts. I hold up the Lufthansa receipt. $28,400. First-class tickets to Paris. For Mom and Dad to accompany Devon for the first 2 weeks to help him settle in. 2 weeks. $28,400. I set it down. I couldn't get $4,500 for 4 years of textbooks. Devon got $28,400 for 2 weeks of hand-holding in Europe. The pastor from our church, Pastor Michael, stands up. Maria, Robert, I think we need to talk about this. Dad rounds on him. This is a family matter. You hold leadership positions in our church, Pastor Michael says firmly. You counsel families on stewardship and values. And you allocated resources like this? He holds up his evidence packet. This is unconscionable. Other people are standing now, voices rising. I can't believe this. Did you really spend that much? That poor girl worked 3 jobs. While he got everything handed to him, the tent erupts into chaos. Arguments breaking out. People confronting my parents. Devin's friends confronting him. I watch it happen from the microphone. This is what truth looks like when it detonates. Keisha is still filming. Capturing everything. Multiple guests have their phones out now too. This is going to be everywhere. Good. I have one more thing to say. I call into the microphone. The chaos quiets slightly, people turning back to me. I spent 18 years waiting for you to see me. I look directly at my parents. Waiting for you to choose me. Waiting for front row. Every time remember that promise, Dad. His jaw clenches. I'm done waiting. I'm done being invisible. I'm done pretending the math doesn't matter. I hold up my Princeton acceptance letter. I'd brought it. Keisha's idea. I did this. My voice cracks slightly. First emotion showing. I earned this. Not because you invested in me. Not because you supported my education. I earned this, despite you. Aunt Linda is sobbing openly now. Devin got 12 countries and $127,450. I got $25 and empty chairs at graduation. I fold up the acceptance letter. Put it back in my portfolio. These are the facts. Make of them what you will. I step away from the microphone. The tent explodes again. People rushing toward my parents. Voices angry, demanding explanations. Devin sitting alone at his table, looking shell-shocked. The photographer still taking pictures of everything. The champagne fountain still flowing. Ignored. Keisha appears at my elbow. Time to go. Yeah. We walk toward the exit. Aunt Linda intercepts us. Jasmine, wait. She hugs me. Hard. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know it was this bad. I know, Aunt Linda. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. It's not your fault. Can I call you tomorrow? Please? Yes. She lets me go. We're almost to the parking lot when I hear Mom screaming my name. Jasmine, you come back here right now. I don't turn around. You've ruined everything. Everything. Keisha unlocks her car. We get in. Everyone is staring at us. Everyone knows. I look back through the car window. Mom is standing outside the tent, mascara running, dress wrinkled from people grabbing at her for explanations. Dad is inside, surrounded by angry guests. Devin is still sitting at his table, alone. The party is destroyed. The truth is out. The math has spoken. Drive, I tell Keisha. She drives. Behind us, I can hear shouting. Chaos. The sound of a family imploding under the weight of documented choices. I pull out my phone. 17 text messages already. Missed calls from 5 different numbers. My phone buzzes again. Unknown number. I answer. Hello? Jasmine, this is Rebecca Wallace. I just got a call from Keisha's mom. Are you okay? I did it. I told everyone. Showed them everything. How do you feel? I think about that. Free, I say finally. I feel free. Good. That's good. If your parents contact you, if they threaten you in any way, you call me immediately. Do you understand? I understand. You did the right thing, Jasmine. Remember that. No matter what happens next, you told the truth. We hang up. Keisha glances at me while driving. Where to? Anywhere. Anywhere but here. She nods. Keeps driving. My phone won't stop buzzing. Behind us, Riverside Gardens disappears in the rearview mirror. Ahead of us, everything unknown. But at least it's honest. At least everyone knows the math now. $127,000. $450 versus $25. Devin versus Jasmine. The golden son versus the invisible daughter. Not invisible anymore. Not ever again. The first 6 hours were a blur. Keisha drove us to her apartment. I turned off my phone's 73 notifications in 40 minutes. Couldn't process any of it yet. We ordered pizza. Sat on her couch. Didn't talk much. Just existed in the aftermath. At 8:47 p.m., I turned my phone back on. 192 notifications. Text messages. Missed calls. Voicemails. Facebook notifications. Instagram. Email. Every platform exploding simultaneously. I started reading. Aunt Linda. Jasmine, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. Can we talk tomorrow? I love you. Uncle Carlos. Your parents owe you an apology. What they did was wrong. You have my support. Cousin Marisol. Holy shit, Joss. I'm on your side. 100%. Then the angry ones. Mom. You've destroyed this family. I hope you're happy. Don't bother coming home. Dad. What you did today was unforgivable. We're consulting our attorney about legal action for defamation and theft. Devin. I can't believe you did this. You ruined my party. You embarrassed everyone. For what? Money? Grow up. I screenshot all of them. Added them to my documentation folder. Evidence of their response. The voicemails were worse. Mom crying, then screaming. Dad threatening. Devin confused and angry. But there were other voicemails too. Mrs. Patterson, high school counselor. Jasmine, I heard what happened. I just want you to know I'm proud of you. What you did took courage. Call me if you need anything. Rosa. Restaurant boss. Mija. I heard you stood up for yourself. Good. Don't let them make you feel guilty. You call me if you need a place to stay. Marcus Morrison's coworker. Dude. Everyone's talking about it. Your parents are messed up. You did the right thing. By midnight, the party video was online. Someone had posted it. Not Keisha, she'd kept her footage private, but multiple guests had filmed. The clips were everywhere. Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Reddit. The video of me at the microphone, holding up the spreadsheet, saying $127,450 versus $25 was going viral. Comments in the thousands. This is heartbreaking, that poor girl. Parents spent $127K on vacation but couldn't help with college? Disgusting. The brother's face when he realizes everyone knows he's a spoiled brat is priceless. This is what financial abuse looks like. Document everything, people. By Sunday morning, the view count was at 1.2 million. By Sunday evening, 3.8 million. The news outlets started picking it up. Local news first, graduation betrayal goes viral, then regional, then national. I got interview requests. 17 of them. Morning shows, podcasts, news segments. I declined all of them. The video spoke for itself. Sunday night, Rebecca Wallace called. How are you holding up? I don't know yet. Ask me in a week. Your father called my office, left a message threatening to sue you for defamation, theft of private documents, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. My stomach dropped. Can he do that? He can file. He won't win. Everything you presented was factual. Truth is an absolute defense to defamation. And you didn't steal, you made copies of documents you had access to in a shared family space. As for emotional distress, he'd have to prove you acted with malicious intent rather than truth-telling. Good luck with that when the spreadsheet exists. So I'm okay? You're more than okay. If he actually files, I'll destroy him in discovery. We'll subpoena every financial record, every email, every text. We'll make the spreadsheet look like a preview. He won't file. This is intimidation. What should I do? Nothing. Don't engage. Don't respond to their messages. Don't defend yourself publicly. You already said everything that needed saying. Let them exhaust themselves. By Monday morning, 48 hours post-exposure, the consequences were rolling in. Pastor Michael announced, "My parents were asked to step down from all church leadership positions pending review of stewardship practices." Dad's business partner, Mr. Chen, dissolved their 15-year partnership. Public statement cited fundamental value differences. Mom's book club. 3 members confirmed they'd asked her to leave the group. Devin's college friends. Multiple people unfollowed him. One posted, "Can't respect someone who accepted $127K while his sister worked 3 jobs." The social death was swift and comprehensive. And I felt nothing. Not joy. Not vindication. Not even satisfaction. Just exhaustion. The truth was out. The consequences were happening. Now I had to figure out what came next. 3 weeks after the party, Rebecca Wallace called with news. "Your parents' attorney contacted me. They want to settle." Settle what? They're the ones who threatened to sue me. Exactly. They're not suing, but you could, and they know it. I sat up straighter. Sue them for what? Educational support discrimination. Emotional damages. There's precedent in family law when parents provide substantial financial support to one child while systematically denying another. Courts can order restitution. It's rare, but possible. Especially with your level of documentation. I thought about that. Would I win? Maybe. 60% chance. But here's what they're offering. They'll pay $62,400, 70% of your student loan total, in exchange for you signing an NDA and never speaking about the family finances publicly again. They want to buy my silence. Yes. After everything. After 18 years of choosing Devin over me. After missing my graduation. After $127,450 for his vacation. They want to pay me off and make me shut up. That's the offer. I was quiet for a long moment. "What do you think I should do?" I asked. Rebecca's voice was careful. "I think you need to decide what you want, more justice or money." The money would help with Princeton. $62,400 would cut your loans by 70%. You'd graduate with minimal debt. That's not nothing. But I'd have to sign an NDA, never talk about it again. Correct. The story would end here. You'd take the money, move forward, build your life. They'd continue theirs. No legal battle, no more public drama. What's the alternative? We file a civil lawsuit. Discovery period could take 6 months. Trial maybe a year out. It'll cost you time, energy, emotional bandwidth. And there's no guarantee we win. But if we do win, the judgment would be public record. Their financial choices would be part of legal documentation forever. They couldn't escape it. I thought about Princeton, about starting fresh, about carrying student loan debt versus being mostly free of it. I thought about my parents, about whether I wanted them in court, under oath, forced to explain their choices to a judge. "Can I think about it?" I asked. "You have 48 hours. Then the offer expires." I called Keisha. Told her everything. "What do you want to do?" she asked. "I don't know. Part of me wants to take the money and never see them again. Part of me wants to drag them through court just so a judge can tell them what they did was wrong." What would 21-year-old Jasmine want you to do? Post-Princeton Jasmine? I thought about that. She'd want to be debt-free. She'd want to start her career without $89,000 hanging over her. Then take the money. You already exposed them. Everyone knows the truth. The video has 12 million views. Their reputation is destroyed. You won. Taking their money isn't losing, it's making them pay for what they did, literally. She was right. 47 hours later, I called Rebecca back. "I'll take the settlement. But I have conditions." "Name them." "The NDA only covers future public statements. Everything I've already said, the party, the video, any interviews I might have done, stays public. They can't demand I delete anything retroactively." Reasonable. What else? "The payment schedule is monthly, not lump sum. $1,200 per month for 52 months. If they miss a payment, the NDA is void, and I can speak freely again. That's smart. Keeps them accountable. Anything else? 5-year no contact order. They can't call, text, email, or show up at Princeton. If they violate it, the NDA is void. Perfect. I'll draft it. 1 week later, we signed the settlement agreement in Rebecca's office. My parents weren't there, their attorney handled everything. But I was there. Watched Rebecca review every clause. Signed my name on the final page. Rivera v. Rivera, settlement agreement. Amount: $62,400. Terms: 52 monthly payments of $1,200. Conditions: NDA, prospective only, 5-year no contact order. The first payment arrived 8 days later. $1,200 deposited directly into my account. I sat staring at the transaction notification for 10 minutes. Blood money. That's what Keisha called it. They're paying you to go away. Take it and build something they can't touch. I used it to pay down my highest interest loan. The second payment arrived exactly 30 days later. And the third, and the fourth. By September, when I moved into my Princeton dorm, I'd received 4 payments, $4,800 toward my loans. My balance, $84,200 remaining. Not zero, but better. The family split was complete by then. Jasmine's side, 8 people. Aunt Linda, Dad's sister, horrified by the spreadsheet. Uncle Carlos, Mom's brother called Dad, morally bankrupt. Cousin Marisol, Carlos's daughter, asked me to be in her wedding. Grandmother Rosa, Dad's mom, moved to assisted living near Princeton. We have weekly dinner dates. Mrs. Patterson, honorary family, writes me encouraging emails monthly. Rosa, restaurant boss, sends care packages to Princeton. Keisha and her family, chosen family, irreplaceable. Parents' side, 4 people. Devin, living at home, unemployed. Europe trip cut short after 6 weeks because it wasn't what he expected. Aunt Teresa, Mom's sister enabler, sent me a message saying I was too sensitive. 2 family friends who sided with my parents out of loyalty, not logic. Neutral, cut contact, 11 people. Various relatives who decided they didn't want to be involved in family drama. Extended family who quietly distanced from everyone. The holidays were interesting. Thanksgiving, I spent with Grandmother Rosa and Keisha's family. 14 people around 2 tables pushed together. Actual warmth. Actual celebration of what I was accomplishing. No one mentioned my parents. Christmas, I stayed at Princeton, volunteered at a homeless shelter on December 25th, came back to my dorm, and video called with my chosen family. Grandmother Rosa sent me a card. Family is not always blood. Sometimes it's the people who show up. I'm proud to show up for you. I cried reading that. Good tears. By spring semester, I'd heard through Aunt Linda what was happening with my parents. Dad's business had taken a hit, lost 3 major clients who didn't feel comfortable working with him after the viral video. Revenue down 40%. He'd had to lay off 2 employees. Mom's social circle had evaporated. Former friends stopped inviting her to events. Her book club membership was, politely, not renewed. She'd applied for volunteer positions at 3 organizations. All rejected her. Devin had tried to get a job. Multiple applications. 0 callbacks. Apparently, employers were Googling him and finding the viral video. Spoiled trust fund kid who got $127K while his sister worked 3 jobs wasn't a great first impression. He was still living at home. Still unemployed. The Europe trip, which was supposed to help him find himself, had been cut short because he'd run through his spending money in 6 weeks, and my parents couldn't afford to send more. Irony was not subtle. I felt not quite satisfaction. Something more complicated. Sad that it had come to this. Relieved that consequences were real. Tired of caring about people who'd never cared about me the same way. By the end of my freshman year, I'd received 12 monthly payments. $14,400, $400 total. My loan balance, $74,600. Getting better. My Princeton GPA, 3.89. My major, economics with a minor in public policy. I'd decided I wanted to study how families make financial decisions and how systematic inequality gets embedded in those decisions. I had a research assistant position lined up for sophomore year, $18 per hour, 20 hours per week. Professor Chen, no relation to Mr. Chen from Dad's business, had selected me for her study on educational funding disparities. Your story, she'd said during my interview, is exactly what we're researching. You're living proof of how parental resource allocation affects outcomes. Would you be comfortable being a case study? Absolutely. My life was moving forward. And behind me, my parents' carefully constructed reputation was ash. The settlement money kept coming. At $1,200 every month, like clockwork. I never missed a payment. They never reached out. The no-contact order was holding. The silence was healing. It's been 3 years since that party. I'm 21 now. Senior year at Princeton, sitting in my apartment, 1 bedroom, natural light, bookshelves I built myself, plants that are somehow still alive. My Princeton diploma will arrive in 3 months. Economics degree, magna cum laude, if my final semester goes according to plan. The loan payments from my parents are almost done. 49 payments received, 3 remaining. My total student debt now, $26,800, down from $89,000. I did the rest through work study, research positions, summer internships, and one very generous scholarship I received sophomore year from a foundation that supports first-generation students from non-traditional family situations. The application essay practically wrote itself. I'll graduate with less than $27,000 in debt. For Princeton. For 4 years of Ivy League education. That's manageable. That's survivable. I did it. Not because they helped, because I figured it out with actual support from people who chose to show up. The video still exists online, 12 million views and counting. Every few months, it resurfaces on some platform. Reddit, TikTok, Twitter, and the comments start again. People sharing their own stories of family financial disparity. People calling my parents every name imaginable. People saying I inspired them to speak up about their own situations. I don't read the comments anymore. That chapter is closed. My relationship status with my parents, non-existent. We haven't spoken in 3 years. The no-contact order expires in 2 years. I don't plan to reach out when it does. Some bridges burn because they were built on rotten foundations. Devin tried to contact me once. Sophomore year. Sent a letter to my campus mailbox, not sure how he got the address. Joss, I'm sorry about everything. I didn't know how bad it was. I was selfish. I'm trying to do better now. Maybe we could talk? I read it twice. Then I filed it in my documentation folder and never responded. I don't owe him forgiveness. I don't owe him a relationship. He had 18 years to notice. He didn't. The people who are in my life now. Grandmother Rosa. She's 81 now. Lives in a retirement community, 20 minutes from campus. We have dinner together every Sunday. She tells me stories about her childhood, about immigrating to the U.S., about building a life with nothing. She tells me I remind her of herself. That's the best compliment I've ever received. Aunt Linda. We talk monthly. She's apologized probably 200 times for not seeing what was happening sooner. I've told her it's not her fault. She sends me care packages during finals week. Always includes my favorite snacks and a note that says, "Proud of you, Mija." Keisha. She graduated from state last year, got into law school Georgetown. We're only 2 hours apart now. She visits once a month. She was with me the day I got my first payment from my parents. She'll be with me when I get my last one too. Rosa, restaurant boss. Still sends care packages, still texts me motivational quotes, still calls me Mija, and tells me I'm going to do great things. My chosen family. 8 people who show up consistently, who celebrate my wins, who don't make me earn their pride, who just love me, without conditions, without comparisons. That's what family should be. I've been in therapy for 2 years. Campus counseling first, then a private therapist I found who specializes in family estrangement and childhood trauma. Her name is Dr. Patel. She's helped me understand that what happened wasn't just favoritism, it was systematic emotional neglect, financial abuse, a form of trauma that doesn't leave visible scars but shapes everything about how you see yourself. She's helped me stop apologizing for taking up space, stop justifying my needs, stop believing I have to earn basic respect. I'm still working on that last one. Last semester, I did a research presentation on educational funding disparities. Used my own story anonymized slightly, but recognizable to anyone who knew. The title, When Parents Choose, a Case Study in Discriminatory Financial Allocation and Its Impact on Educational Outcomes. Professor Chen called it the most compelling undergraduate research she'd seen in 15 years. I got an A+. More importantly, I got clarity. Looking at my own story through an academic lens, seeing it as data, as a case study, as a pattern that happens to thousands of kids made it less personal, less painful. It happened. It was wrong. It's documented. Now I'm using it to help others. That feels like power. I've been accepted to Harvard Law School. Start in the fall. Full scholarship plus living stipend. I'm going to be a lawyer. Family law, specifically. I'm going to help kids like me, kids whose parents play favorites, who work 3 jobs while their siblings get everything, who need someone to tell them, this is not normal, and you deserve better. Rebecca Wallace wrote one of my recommendation letters. She said in it, Jasmine Rivera is proof that trauma, when metabolized into purpose, can change the world. She will be an extraordinary advocate because she knows exactly what it feels like to be unheard. I cried reading that letter. I'm not unheard anymore. My parents' final payment will arrive in 3 months. $1,200. The last installment. After that, we're done. No more financial connection. No more obligation. Just done. I've already decided what I'm going to do with that final payment. I'm going to frame the deposit notification. Hang it on my wall next to my Princeton diploma and my Harvard Law acceptance letter. A reminder. I survived. I succeeded. I did it without them. They paid $127,450 for Devin to find himself in Europe. He came back after 6 weeks, unemployed, living in their basement. They paid me $62,400 in settlement money to go away. I used it to fund a Princeton degree and a pathway to Harvard Law. The return on investment speaks for itself. Some people ask if I regret exposing them. If I regret the party, the video, the nuclear option, I don't. The truth is never something to regret. Could I have handled it quietly? Sure. Could I have just cut contact without the public spectacle? Probably. But then Devin would still be living off their money, oblivious. Extended family would still be praising my parents as so supportive. People would still be telling me I should be grateful for everything they'd done for me. The exposure forced everyone to see what I'd been living. And yeah, it destroyed relationships. It nuked my parents' social standing. It made everything complicated and painful. But it also freed me. I don't have to pretend anymore. I don't have to smile through birthday dinners where Devin gets $200 cakes and I get boxed mix. I don't have to listen to relatives praise my parents' sacrifices while I work multiple jobs. I'm free of the lie. And that's worth every uncomfortable moment. Looking forward, I see law school. I see a career helping families navigate complicated dynamics. I see research, policy work, maybe teaching someday. I see a life I built myself. Not the one they chose for me, the invisible daughter, the resourceful one, the one who figures it out. The one I chose for myself. Visible, supported, successful. On my terms. With people who show up. People who keep promises. Front row. Every time, but a different front row. One I earned, one I chose. That's the ending I'm writing now. Not the one they wanted, the one I deserve. Outro. If you're listening to this story and seeing yourself in it, if you're the kid who works while your sibling gets everything, if you're the one told to figure it out while someone else gets figured out for them, if you're keeping track of disparities that nobody else seems to notice, I want you to know something. You're not crazy. You're not ungrateful. You're not being too sensitive. The math matters. The patterns matter. Your experience matters. Document everything. Tell your truth. Find your people. And when they say you're tearing the family apart by speaking up, remember, you're not tearing anything apart. You're just refusing to hold together something that was broken from the start. That's not destruction. That's liberation. This is Achiever Betrayed, where we tell the stories of people who succeeded despite the families who should have supported them. Thank you for listening to mine.